All right, and we are live. How is everybody doing tonight? I'll do some shout outs here and then I will bring on Eric and we'll hit the ground running. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions for Eric, please feel free to post those. I'll try and keep up with them as best as I can. If you post them via a super chat, that will make it a lot easier for me to keep track of. I'll also be posting the link to join us if you want to jump on the stream and ask Eric a question semi face to face. That link is already available for my channel members and my patrons. So we got Horror Geek here with us, or I'm sorry, Geriatric Geek here with us tonight. How you doing, Bill? We got Bog Zombie here. We got DJ. We got Xenu. We got Michael. We got Grizzly. We got Fox here with us tonight. Quentin's here. Happy New Year. Antonis is here with us tonight. We got Cody here, dude who loves movies. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope your 2025's gotten off to a good start. We got Mr. Horror Geek here. And we've got RJ Skarinki. Thank you all for being here tonight. Hey, there's Horror Orman. How you doing, sir? All right, very cool. So let me go ahead and bring on my guest tonight, an old buddy of mine. You know him, you love him. It's Eric Freeman. How you doing, man?
Hey, cool. Like that intro music. That was very European. Remind me of the clubs in England. You know, the '80s stuff. Yeah, very cool.
Oh, that was my buddy Jaxius. There's a link to him in the description. If you like that music, go over and check him out. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So it's good to see you, man. How have you been?
Okay. Thanks for having me. We should have been on like prior to Christmas, but I screwed that all up and something I did wrong. Some con I got sick at or something. Whatever.
Well, but you know, here's the thing. I think this may be the perfect time because it's New Year's. Everybody at this point's hopefully over their hangovers and they're ready to get those New Year's resolutions started. And Eric, you know, you have, you know, everybody, you know, the wealth of knowledge that you have.
Of course.
For, you know, nutrition and health and fitness and all that. You've helped so many people over the years. I figured like, hey, you know, new year, new you, and let's just talk about, doesn't have to be entirely about health and nutrition, although that's, you know, you're a specialist there. You really are. Last year, our stream last year, I got so much great feedback from it, from people who are like, you know, I did what Eric told me to do. I feel better. And it's like, wow, okay, good. And I know you do that privately. That's something you know, people reach out to you for help and you help them.
I try. It's real basic stuff, but I enjoy it. I mean, where someone might not be feeling well and they don't know why, we can ask questions. Ask a lot of questions, find out what they're eating, find out what they're doing. I think there's a lot. We just need to take supplements these days. It's just, the soil is played out. The soil is weak. There's no minerals in it. Our foods don't have any vitamins in it, and so we have to supplement. You have to supplement your diet. You have to. Mm-hmm. If we get into something tonight on that, it'll be very simple, and it'll be something everyone can do, and you'll feel better. And it's not like change your world, change. You know that this. You said new year, new you, and I thought, oh, he's gonna want me to talk about these things, and I didn't want to bore the audience. And
no, you don't bore anybody. Trust me, because everybody, you know, again, I got so much great feedback from the stream last year where we talked. I think we talked for probably a solid hour or more about, you know, just, you know, people were asking questions. I've got this issue, I've got this ailment, and you offered them suggestions and recommendations. And I heard back from a number of people saying like, hey, I did what he told me and I feel much better now.
Well, you're also a gentleman too. So you could be lying.
Well, there was no. Okay. Well, here's a tweet that I received. Right. Hold on. Here's a tweet that I received just the other day from somebody when I announced that I was going to be doing this stream with you. This gentleman, his name is William Allen. He says, he, as in Eric, has a passion for health and has shared a wealth of unconventional info backed by facts. I've incorporated what he's recommended into my routine. My recent blood work results were excellent. His
Oh,
knowledge of nutrition often surpasses what you'd hear from pill pushing doctors. So
that's nice.
that's just one person that you found. So
Huh. All right. All right. All right. No, that's very kind. And I, I'm not. I used to do it in an office. I used to be. I'm clinical nutritionist by trade, but I'm retired, I guess. But I still try to keep boned up. It actually gives me more time to be aware. I think when sometimes you can kind of nutshell yourself into avenues or corners, or you can not entertain other avenues or explore the larger segments of the trade. And at least I think I try to stay abreast of what's out there, but it still comes back to old school. It still comes back to simple stuff. And but that was really kind of William and of you.
I think this may actually be him and the William Lee. So is that you, William?
William Lee, yes.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
cool.
he's up in Canada. He's a Canadian man, firefighter, real smart, financial guy too. I mean, this is the guy that you would go to for financial advice, but he's he's a good friend, and he knows what he's doing. He's listened, and then we talk, and on occasion he's up there in cold country up in Canada. Yeah.
It's going to be getting really cold here in the next few days. So our winter usually happens in January. We had like a 60 something degree Christmas.
Wow.
So it definitely did not feel like Christmas, but we're getting that weather coming soon. So, oh, here we go. Aaron is in the chat. He says, Eric is the man. My son met him at a horror con and got his picture with him and still cherishes it to this day.
That's nice, Aaron. Yeah, I like the fact that the younger crowds the kids like the movie because it's goofy, and so they come out for when we sign and we do our stuff. And you were there many times.
And you guys, you and Robert both are extremely gosh, what's the word? I mean, just personable and friendly and just, super nice with everybody that you all meet. So
well, it's important. Robert's real, he's the main guy, but and he's just such a kind gentleman. I emulate. I try early on. I didn't know what I was doing. He showed me the ropes, and you were the one saying, "Go, Eric, go to these cons. You'll do well." And I was like, "No, man," but I'll just be all alone. But no, Robert's great, and he kind of showed me how to do it. And it's everything. If I can't be, everything I should be, there, it's an experience. People show up. They spend so much money to get in, and so it's when they show up at come down our little lane and come see us, we're just like floored, and so we're happy to hang with.
Well, I saw Robert. He did a screening. He did a 40th anniversary screening of Silent Night, Deadly Night in Knoxville, Tennessee recently. Mm-hmm. So I got to catch up with him again and shoot the bull with him, and always good to see him out and about. And hopefully, I did drop a little bug. Is that it? Do you drop a bug in people's ear? What do you drop in people's ear? What's that old? I think it's a bug. I don't know. Anyway, I suggested to the people who do those screenings in Knox, I was like, it'd be really nice maybe if you did Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 next year and you had Eric come out. So
yeah, well, we would hope it would go over big. Did it go over big, by the way? You were there.
Of course. It was sold out.
Wow.
And people were just having a great time with the movie. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's Bob did great. He did great. I'm not sure what I did, but that's another movie. And so
he had very nice things to say about you during his little Q&A. You know, he speaks very highly of you, of course. So
That's kind. That's
yeah.
kind. Yeah, it says, well, if you want to, go slumming, you see the other one. Yeah, yeah.
But I hope they do that. I think that'd be great. And hopefully, I don't know. I've hopefully we'll see you guys again we'll see you guys at Scarefest this year in Lexington. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's all out of my hands. I'm just a quote
Mhm.
talent, right? I'm the B grade or C or D or something, but some sort of talent.
It,
But yeah, it's up to Dominic and then the promoter, and then the
of
promoter.
course, of course.
You know how it goes.
So,
Too
yeah.
many cooks in that kitchen. So
I know.
who
Well, yeah,
knows?
if anybody out there wants to see Eric and Robert at Scarefest this year, definitely, post on Scarefest's one of Scarefest's many social media platforms or message them directly and say, "Hey, we want to see
Yeah.
Robert and Eric." We've got a super chat that just came in from my buddy Bog Zombie. He says, I actually began taking MSM and vitamin C powder every morning because of Eric, and my joint pain from former martial arts injuries is completely gone.
Cool. And it does work. And it's dose tolerant. MSM, organic sulfur, a mineral we need. We don't get it in the diet. It's one of the largest minerals, or one of the most abundant minerals in the body, but we just need more of it. And that's cool. I appreciate that. Another thing that could help is turmeric phytosome. That is a massive anti-inflammatory. In the phytosome, it's just a form of turmeric. It's bonded to a fatty acid because it's a fat soluble nutrient. So that phytosome, and I like Swanson's, those guys are great. I've got a lot of accounts, but Swanson with their 35% off, they'll send you these things. I got a 35% off today. So, I mean, and shipping's low or nothing if you buy enough. And MSM and turmeric is like the double whammy. So for joint health and anti-inflammatory, and because that he's right. He's right. And by the way, let me say one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
You're the
No,
man.
go ahead.
But there's a great YouTube lecture. Bill Rich, just like it sounds. Bill Rich. He was a guy that literally almost burned to death in his car. He got in a crack up. His car went on fire. He couldn't get out. He was trapped in his car, and the engine was burning up and melting, and he was in like melting inside the seat of his car. And years ago, this is like 1975, 1980, but Bill Rich took MSM religiously back then, became an advocate for MSM, but he completely healed his skin using MSM from keloid scars all over his body. Like 80% of his body was literally, he had grafts and skin grafts, and just horrible things happened to this guy that literally burned to death. But Bill Rich lecture on MSM is what the title of it. Bill Rich lecture on MSM on YouTube. It's a 6-parter. Each part's 10 minutes. It's like an hour, but this guy talks about the uses of MSM for all sorts of maladies. And he's the originator of MSM, like the guy that originally brought it to the awareness. And then Dr. Stanley Jacob has been using it and was a friend of Bill Rich's. Dr. Stanley Jacob up in Oregon. He's an MD, but uses MSM for all sorts of pain-related issues, and he uses it intravenously and, of course, orally. And but that I only wanted to say because that just triggered me to say that Bill Rich has got a great lecture on MSM. The only reason I found it is because I had a cassette tape from back in the day that I kept, the Bill Rich lecture on MSM, and I said, I don't have a cassette player anymore, but I thought, is he on the YouTube? And he is, and it's old school, but man, the guy is entertaining, and it starts slow, but he picks up on speed. But it's really kind of there's not a lot of knowledge out there on MSM or organic sulfur, but with organic sulfur and a good vitamin C, you can do this guy's pain injuries and from martial arts is brutal on the joints. So cool on him. And thank you for letting me interrupt, Justin. Only to say that it's dose tolerant too. Dose dependent, meaning the last thing I'll say on MSM is that you have to find out how much you need as an individual for wiping out pain. Generally, I have found that a heaping teaspoon twice a day is a good place to be. You might want to stick your toe in, lightly and just do a teaspoon a day and some vitamin C and then work up. But you have to find the amount you need to facilitate pain reduction and great skin. And the ladies will notice that their skin will get as soft as a baby's behind. And it's a beauty mineral is really what it is, but it's a painkiller and helps rebuild our joints. So cool.
Would you also recommend to him, like, or anybody out there that has joint pain, like collagen peptides or glucosamine chondroitin to go along with the MSM and vitamin C?
Yes. And boswellia. Boswellia is an herb that's a really anti-inflammatory. I like turmeric, phytosome, and I think collagen peptides are very good. That word peptides, it's hydrolyzed collagen. Hydrolyzed collagen is hydro, and then they throw peptides in because it's fancier name, but it's hydrolyzed collagen. But you'll spend more money for the peptides than you will the hydrolyzed collagen. But I've noticed this brand. Let me grab it. Only to say on the peptides, this brand is very good. Neocell. These guys, this just dissolves in water immediately. It tastes good, and or it has no taste really, but it I got it on Amazon. I got these bigger, but yeah, collagen peptides. You're exactly right, Justin. It's good. So you're so smart. Collagen peptides, and MSM and turmeric phytosome, and those kinds of things are fantastic for the body, for the joints, for the skin, for the hair, for as we age,
for everything. Yeah. I put like 3 grams of MSM in my my little drink every day. So, and Bog Zombie, this is for you.
It's garbage day.
Sir, appreciate that very much.
I'm sorry to interrupt in that long-winded crap I just did, but I think people would like MSM, and it's not expensive. I buy it in the kilo, eBay, and because you want to get it in powder. Capsules are, it's more expensive, and powder, it's slightly bitter, but if you know the benefits of it, and if you do it. And even that Bill Rich guy brings that up in his lecture. He gave it to some lady that had diabetic neuropathy, and she was losing her eyesight, and she was heavy set. But he gave her the powder, and she didn't like it. So she got a big bag from this guy, Bill Rich, but he came back a year later. She still had like most of it. I don't like the taste, was her thing. He gave her capsules. She started taking it. She regained a good portion of her eyesight, felt better. It's a detoxifier. It's just so good for the body. I used it I went back to the gym today, first time in a long time, because I injured myself, but I took the MSM before I went in, and it helps. I take it when I go in, I take it when I leave. I bring it in a little mason jar, but it makes a big difference. I mean, just vanquishes pain and if you take it every 12 hours, like something like 8 in the morning, and then when you get home in the afternoon, sometime take it. Not too late, because it can energize you. You will be pain free all day. So,
nice. What are we talking about? Shoulder injury? You kind of pointed towards your shoulder. Was it a shoulder injury?
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but I did, and I did, and I was stupid. I was stupid. I was very stupid. I was building an addition to my carport, and I was on top of it. It was really late at night, and I thought I had all the joists secured. I thought I had them all nailed in, and I had one that wasn't nailed in, and I was up there with a tape measure, and I wanted to make sure everybody was 16 on center. I want to make sure they were all in the right place, these joists. And so I'm up there, it's dark, and it gets dark so early now anyhow, right? 5 o'clock, it's pitch black. I'm up there like an idiot. And one of the joists was not secured, and I'm leaning on it. I put my hand on it and poof, that thing goes down. I go down. I end up in the alley with this tape measure in my hand. I mean, I fell like 10 feet into the asphalt.
Gosh.
No, I know. Why? And I'm not 20. So the thing is why am I not busted up with a broken hip in the hospital? Probably because I take stuff for my bones to keep them flexible, like collagen. See, collagen is most part of bones. Collagen, everybody thinks calcium. No, it's collagen and calcium and all sorts of nutrients. The body will rob the bone bank for the calcium. If in an absence of calcium and these vital minerals, the body will go into the bone bank and pull it out, making it osteoporotic. But most of that flexibility that we really want in our bones is when we're young is what we want when we're older, and that takes, and I'm sure glad you brought that up, the collagen and the peptides, the calcium and magnesium, vitamin D, K2 directs calcium into the bone. So we already got an early start on this nutrition thing. So but I fell off the roof like a moron, didn't kill myself. I'm I somehow tumbled, and all I know is my ass really hurt. I mean, my left cheek was just like on fire. And like an idiot, I fall down. I'm on my back with the tape measure. And some guy's walking up the alley and like a nightly walk. He goes, "Did you just fall?" And I said, "Yeah." But I quickly got up and I was expecting a bone to be sticking out of my pants, like busted femur or something. And checking myself, and my ass is on fire and my shoulder's killing me. So I must have done something, but real moron move. I mean, ladders and being up and roofs and totally unlike.
Well, luckily you weren't more seriously injured. But the reason I asked about the shoulders, because I kind of my left shoulder is kind of gimpy too, and like it affects when I try to weight train and whatnot. So it's gotten a lot better. But like I bought this thing called a sling. You ever heard of a sling? Like it's like a big elastic thing, and it helps with your shoulders when you bench. So I was going to throw that out if you're having issues.
Mine's pretty bad. I'm going to call this Dr. Mark Darrow. He's a PRP stem cell guy. He's been doing about 25 years. He's over there in West LA. It's got Stem Cell Institute, or I think is his new name for his place, but he's been at it longer than anyone. He's one of the best. I mean, if you want to avoid surgery, I'm going to see him on the shoulder. He'll inject it. And I can't afford stem cells. That's like $2,000 a crack. But the PRP is much more affordable. That's a platelet-rich plasma. They take out your blood. They draw it out. It's really simple. They draw it out and they centrifuge it, and the healing factors. It looks like light gold and amber. It's fibroblasts and chondroblasts, but it's your healing factors of your blood. So they discard the red blood cells, and then they re-inject that. He uses ultrasound. This Darrow guy, he uses ultrasound as a guidance tool to get into the area of injury. Nobody uses ultrasound. He does because he wants to make sure it gets there. And so he's very good at it, 25 years or so. But I'm going to go see him for some PRP and probably a few visits. And then lay off. The thing is, he's going to say, don't even touch it. Don't even look at it. Don't work. Don't do anything. Don't exert yourself for 2 weeks after you get the shot. But you go in, you get the shot, you leave, you walk away. Same for knees or hips or ankles. It's gaining a lot of traction nationwide. He's been just doing it longer. It started off in the early days. It's called prolotherapy, where they used sterilized dextrose, meaning a sugar solution. They injected it instead of PRP or stem cells. In the early days, it was sterilized dextrose to literally inflame that area to draw the fibroblasts into the injured area for healing. So they used to do that thousands of years ago, and the same kind of thing. Kind of like the prolotherapy is a very old word, but it's to proliferate healing, and so that he started with dextrose all those years ago, very successful with it. But then PRP came in, and I was like, wow, and then stem cells, even better. That's when they pull out some marrow out of usually your hip, and then they inject that for even more rapid healing. But you don't need to go in and get joint replacement, or it's really an amputation of your knee, and then a joint replacement. And that there's always failure with that. There's a risk of infection, and you have to go in for redos, and it's unnecessary. You can rebuild. And then, like the martial artist that was so kind, you can do a lot to take away these painful injuries with chondroitin and glucosamine and MSM are the three biggies, of course. Collagen peptides, anti-inflammatories like turmeric phytosome. So these are all very, and things happen. We fall off roofs. We do stupid stuff. So I'm all for, and if it weren't for the MSM and stuff, I mean, it's effed up. It's effed up. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it hurts like hell, and I can't do what I used to do. And even pushing weight around was just brutal today. I mean, it's like it's just awful. So I know I really messed it up. Rotator cuff stuff and just overly strained. And the only time it feels better, I laid off for like 3 weeks, didn't do a thing, and it's feeling better. It's like, wow, I can move it around. It doesn't hurt. But I knew the moment I put some resistance on it, and so last night was like agony, like, oh Christ, what did I do? What did I do? And so will I ever get better? And I said, that's it. I'm seeing Daryl, throwing the money down, putting out the card, getting it fit again. I'll go through a series. If it's 3 visits, 5, whatever. He'll probably suggest stem cells, and I'll say, yeah, but doc, because I know him. And I'll say, that's fine and well when you're doing it for yourself. It's free, but do I want to lay out $2,000 a pop? But it's worth it. If you were looking at a $50,000 surgery or $100,000 surgery or a knee that's messed up, go PRP. I'd come out to LA and have the best guy in the world do it, frankly, because you could vacation out here. You could be, at the beach or whatever. You could go see him. You could be in and out in minutes. And he's just, the people that say, oh, it doesn't work, they don't know how they're doing it. They don't know how to use a ultrasound for guidance. They don't know how to, they play at it. Oh, do it once and you're fine. No, it might be a series of shots as one visit. For the shoulder, it would be many shots. It'd go all the way around from the posterior deltoid to the anterior deltoid across the top. Then they'd go in deep into the rotator cuff. They'd probably do 20 shots in one visit with the PRP. They're not just shooting you and saying, see ya. So it's a science. And then you would come back in a couple of weeks and have it done again. But I'm not advocating stem cells or PRP, but I'm saying that there are guys that are really good at it. There's a guy even in Orange County that might even be better with his healing red light things he's got, and other ways to facilitate the healing. But really cool stuff. I mean, it's unfortunate that it isn't ubiquitous throughout the United States, and everyone's not doing it. But this guy, he's got a great book on it. I wish I knew the name of this guy, Dr. Mark Darrow, MarcDarrow. Mark Darrow. You can look him up on YouTube. And but he fixes joints, period. Instead of a surgery where they amputate. And whenever surgeries that come in, that's another thing. Surgeries take tissue out. They make joints unstable. And the analogy would you have four parts to your foundation of your house. You have four corners to it. It's like if a surgery takes out one quarter of your foundation. Your house is resting on three, parts of their foundation, the cement. That's not stable. That's exactly what the surgeons come in and take stuff out when it's not looking good. He heals it. He'll heal the joint rather than excise tissue. So,
yeah.
Just thought that's something that may come to your place, whether you're in Wichita, Kansas, or you're in Nashville. It'll come to you soon enough. People are doing it. People are learning. Even doctors are saying, I've had enough. Surgeons are great when you need them. Not going to lie, they're good. But if you get in a bad car accident and, you're dying, and perfect. But some elective surgery such as this, I would want to do this first. See if you can get well from shoulders are complicated.
Yeah.
And knees are always get brutalized, like martial arts, or falling down, falling off roofs, or
falling off a roof,
slipping on muddy, trying to get in your car, you slip on a hill, or we all do stupid stuff. So, and it's just life, and fix it. I would fix it that way. But thanks for letting me drone on. But that is a good alternative. I got to say, I'm only saying that, Dustin, because I've seen it. I've been at so many cons that there's a guy walks up and he says, "Well, I'm going to have surgery soon, and I wanted to see you before." And he tells me about he's going to have his knee amputated, literally, and then put in a knee joint, and they make it sound so cool. Oh, it's just a hip replacement or knee, but it's an amputation. And I personally know that 8 out of 10 that get a knee or a hip or this or that have complications, especially infection. And many people die from this infection, or it's sepsis and other, and then you always have a redo. And then you're hoping that it holds well into the bones that you've put the joint into, and that doesn't come loose, or it doesn't wear out. So if you can avoid that in all costs and rebuild that joint, that would be my
yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a question here from Harley Max. He says, "Do you still have that blind possum from last year? Happy New Year."
Oh, no, he was cool. I don't. He was the coolest. He was the coolest guy. He trusted me to come up and sniff my leg and like, "Hey, I know you. And he'd circle around. And no, he had kind of it's kind of in his chest area, I guess. He had little nodules. He had bumps. He had something down in his abdomen, and I knew it was cancer. I just knew it was, and because he had such a hard life. But thanks for asking. That's really cool to ask, and I feel badly because I would have liked him to be around. I just like he tried. I just came in, I guess, at the right time and gave him some additional time.
Yeah, there you go. You helped him out in the end. I mean, that's
I didn't get to find them. They're funny animals. They know, and they crawl away. And at that time, and I was searching for them, but that's
animals know, and they like to do it alone. They like to go alone.
Yeah.
Horror with Haas says, "Mr. Freeman, I think you're a great actor and also a great human being."
Gosh, he's an actor himself. Well, that's really
well. I mean, then he knows.
He must be an actor. But I'll give him an Academy Award for that, for sure. How nice.
Vudanaru says, "I have a question for Eric. Will you move to Kentucky and marry me?"
That sounds like a plan. The Kentucky and marrying a nice lady. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. LA. Holy Moses. And I probably wouldn't fall off any roofs over there either. But yeah, no, that can, how my desire is like to get to the normal places in life, because this is completely nuts. but yeah, that's really kind. Yeah, I sounds good.
Basically, get up, drop Eric a message. He'll get up with you. So we've got a $4.99 super chat here from my buddy Dream Emulator. Thank you very much. He says Eric is a wealth of knowledge. I've been really enjoying MUD, WTR, and AG1 lately, and I'm wondering if you're familiar with these and have opinions.
Wow, is that like? I'm thinking that's called mud water. I think that's mud water. I think that's what he's meaning, and I don't know. These are like above my pay grade. AG1. Unless that's mud water.
Oh, it's mushroom coffee.
Mushroom coffee. Oh, okay. I think they also call it mud water. Mushroom, yes, because these are very good. These mushrooms that they put together, depending on who's making it. Yeah, these are like immune system bolstering mushrooms, and they make it taste good. It's a good alternative to coffee. Coffee will overstimulates the central nervous system. It taxes your adrenal glands. But I know coffee people are coffee, and I would never say, if it works, trust me, it works. When you take those trips and you're Challenger there, and you drink coffee, boy, you can go for miles. And
need a boost, yeah.
Yeah, no, it works. There's nothing like it. But an AG1, I might know it by something else. I guess I just don't have. Everything has to be abbreviated, doesn't it, Justin? Everything.
Let's see. AG1 is it's like a greens powder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a green
brand. Is it a brand?
Yeah, it's a brand. I've heard of AG1, but I've never tried it. But it's like a greens powder. So if it's working well for you, Matt, then I mean that's awesome. I mean greens are very good, and mushrooms are also extremely healthy for you. They have a lot of benefits.
Yeah, they got the turkey tails and the reishi and the cordyceps and the lion's mane and you put these all together and really good. Reishi is really good for the liver too. Helps the liver in its functions of phase 1 and phase 2. But these particular mushrooms, and there's certain, I'm sure there's certain brands that are very good where they have really smart like nutritionists on staff, the right ratios and the right this, and it tastes good, and they do. I guarantee there's probably a lot of great brands out there that I don't know anything about, and it's fun. I would like to try a lot more things, and I have not tried any of these mushroom coffees. And I guess the reason why is I guess I spend my money on other stuff, and it's just like you run out of money at some point. So
you've got cats to feed, and you had a blind possum to feed. So
yeah, and that was more important. No, but the mushroom coffees, how could that not be good? These are all for the strengthening the immune system, and much like vitamin D, and how what that does for you and turns on your DNA, and it's fantastic. I mean, in short, if you can't get sunlight, take vitamin D, at least 5,000 units a day. We'll get into that in a minute, but I agree with you, and I'm glad that question is asked. And if it works and you feel better and you feel stimulated and more energized, or even if you don't notice anything, there is also that, but it tastes good, and it keeps you away from stimulants like Red Bull and 5-hour energy, and there's good things in 5-hour energy. I see there's tyrosine in there, and there's this and that. These are good amino acids, and so anytime we can get amino acids in our system on top of the proteins and stuff is always good. So I took a 5-hour energy when I was in that last con. I forgot that, which
in Texas.
Texas, thank you. I only forgot because it was worth forgetting. But God, 5-hour energy, it was right there. I took it. I said, let me try this. And yeah, it jolts you. It's got
it hurts you right up, didn't it?
Oh God, yes. I was wondering if I was gonna come down, but I did. But yeah, it's got its advantages. But yeah, these are all great things. So I say yes. And AG1 sounds like greens, and I'm a big fan of Dr. Marshall's quantum greens mix. But there's many. I remember this one I used to take a long time ago called Greens First. It was out of San Diego. It was a company called Greens First. Man, that energized my butt off. It was just really good, and it was tasty, and it was greens. And so there's Greens First. There's all sorts of greens people putting green stuff out. Even at Trader Joe's, they sell some greens things in canisters. But yes, anytime you can eat like 5 salads and taking like a tablespoon of greens with the nutrient content in it, why not? I mean, that's the trick. It's really more greens, more salads, and maybe these organic kinds of greens, and where they combine chlorella and spirulina and you name it. I mean, if you throw them all in there and just like what, and they make it taste good. Yeah, I'm on board. So this guy seems to be, people are smart out there. Clearly, he's asking me questions. I don't know the name of the stuff, but yeah, cool.
But it's working for him. So thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Matt, this is for you.
It's garbage day.
There you go, Matt. Thank you very much, sir. We had a question from, let me see, where'd that go? It was from our buddy William. Where did that one go? Goodness gracious. It was about iodine deficiency, if I can find it. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. He says, I read an article in The Economist about iodine deficiency becoming more common, especially with the rise of Himalayan salt, which lacks iodine. Fast food and mass-produced foods that no longer, they must have cut, oh, here we go, contain iodine, particularly with those preservatives. Since iodine is crucial for thyroid health, this is a serious concern.
He's right. That's William. He's exactly right. Iodine, very important to get in your system. Now, we know that the mainland Japanese men and women that live on the coast, or mainland versus the coastal Japanese, get a lot of iodine through kelp and fish and just eating from the sea. And so they never have thyroid problems. But you go into the interior of Japan and they have thyroid issues. They don't get iodine. And there's many states in the United States and in Canada. Where are you getting your iodine? Where are you getting it? You're not getting iodine. Salt was pathetically low anyhow. They threw in just enough so you wouldn't get a goiter. But you're still, iodine is very important for your thyroid. This thyroid needs iodine, and it needs an amino acid called tyrosine and iodine, and selenium, and a little bit of manganese, not magnesium. But the reason it needs these minerals as well is to just because your thyroid is a complex little gland that needs iodine and tyrosine and a few other helpers. But I would take, here I am standing up. I like this. I like Iodorol. 12.5 milligrams. Whoop. Here we go. Bad. I don't know why it's not zeroing in on this.
No, it's we can see it.
Okay.
We can see it.
So Iodorol is potassium iodide and iodine. And unless you're getting iodine in your diet by various ways, but let's say eating 10 pounds of fish a day, but kelp or seaweed, and kelp would be preferred, or dulse, excuse me, dulse, D-U-L-S-E. It's Canadian dulse. Essential Organics. Essential Organics is a site. And it's Canadian dulse. It's purple flakes, and it's very tasty, and it's really kind of salty, and you can put it on your food. But you can Canadian dulse by Essential Organics, and they sell that dose, and it's wildly good. And I think I told William Lee about that, because I think it's up from his the waters up there where it's nice and clean and not polluted, and not, doesn't have any weird stuff in it, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. But short of not eating kelp or dulse, I would take iodoral. And I crack one of these in two. I take both. I take the whole thing in the day, but I take half of it in the morning, half it in the afternoon, because your body can only absorb so much iodine at one time. I would rather crack it in two. I take 12.5 milligrams of it a day. Is it more than I need? I'm not sure. Maybe I could get by with 6. I mean, that's still a healthy amount. It's a ton. You couldn't find 12.5 milligrams of iodine in 50 pounds of iodized salt. I mean, because it's so pathetically low. If I could go back in time, when they used to make bread, people that would bake bread and make bread that would be feeding the nation back in the day, the 30s and the 40s and the 50s into the 60s, about the time that they started iodizing salt, when they made bread back then, they used iodine to bake bread. And there was a lot of iodine in bread. We had no hypothyroidism, low thyroid. We had no thyroid issues back in the day when they would bake bread, because it had iodine in every slice. And people ate, bread, quite a bit of it. But they pulled, for some reason, our government, because they're morons, they pulled the iodine out of the bread making process, and they put bromine. Bromine is a toxic mineral. Bromide it gets uptake by the thyroid, but it mimics iodide. This bromide is very close in the elemental wheel of minerals, but it's toxic to the thyroid. But they put bromide instead in the bread making process, and they said, well, we'll take the iodine out of bread, and we'll iodize salt. And so, but in the process of taking it out of the bread making, in eating our bread, we became hypothyroid. There's a huge deficiency. You get into these goiter belts of Minnesota, of Wisconsin, of Michigan. There's a smart doctor in Michigan named Dr. David Brownstein. Dr. David Brownstein, he has his own clinic. He's an MD, but he has written many books on iodine deficiency and how to reverse your thyroid issues using iodoral and other tricks, like I said, like tyrosine and iodoral. Tyrosine is also very good for the adrenal glands, but tyrosine is very good with iodine and some selenium. The mineral selenium, 200 micrograms, for example, would be very good to strengthen your thyroid and get it working again, because you don't want this baby to go down. You don't. It'll be a miserable life if you're a hypothyroid, because you'll be on medication, whether it be Synthroid or T3 or Armour thyroid, like natural thyroid, but you have 100 symptoms of hypothyroidism, and they're not fun. Bad circulation, bad skin, hair falling out, low sex drive, and that's just the name about 4 out of 100. And it's just your life. You just don't want it. So keeping your thyroid strong is good money. So and we are very deficient in iodine, and the thyroid will take up anything that even looks like that mineral iodine, like bromide, like fluoride, like these percolates, the toxic halogens, they're called. They mimic. They're so close in the elemental wheel to iodine. The poor thyroid just scoops it up, pulls it in, and it helps kill it. So there's an old saying with minerals. You put the good metals in to get the bad metals out, because ultimately these are all metals in a way. Calcium's even a metal. They're ionically metals, in the sense of like iodine and bromine and fluoride and so on. It's the elemental wheel, and they are all metals in one way. And so when your body takes in the bad minerals into the flesh, into the skin, into the organs and glands. We want to put the good organic minerals in its place to displace the bad and push them out. So that in that regard, I like iodine. There's tests they do. It's funny. Just one last thing on iodine. Brownstein was a big advocate of taking 50 milligrams of iodine, 50 milligrams instead of 12.5, and then collecting your urine for 24 hours. And then you'd shake up that big container of urine and you'd pour it off just a little bit and send it into the lab. What do they find when you take a big whopping 50 milligrams of iodoral? What you're doing is you're flooding your body with iodine. Now, you would expect flooding your body with a massive dose of iodine. You'd collect your urine, you'd get a lot of iodine out in your urine, but you don't. Your body just holds on to it and excretes all these toxic halogens I just spoke of. And so they'll find out how deficient you are of iodine by you take a whopping 50 milligrams and you collect your urine, send it in, and they find all these toxic halogens percolate. So that's like the byproduct of rocket fuel. It seems to be all in our waterways and our wells and stuff. But the bottom line is you don't excrete iodine when you take in a whopping amount. When you're deficient, you hold on to all of it. If you were sufficient, you would be peeing it out. So by doing that test, you find out just how deficient you are. But you can do that test, or you can just take 12.5 milligrams of it every day, or even half that, 6 if you want, because that's still a whopping amount. And but you can correct a lot of by the way, it's not just for the thyroid. Women especially should hear up on this, because the breasts of women need iodine. The ovaries and the reproductive aspects of a woman need iodine. Our male and female, we need iodine throughout our whole body, but for the breast and reproductive system, women, they really need iodine. And if you have really tender breasts, or you brush up against anything and it hurts, or it's painful, or they're called painful breasts or whatever, this is an iodine deficiency. Also, it's very good. Brownstein talks about it being just anti-cancer and other things. So for breast health, for uterine health, for women's health, for just thyroid health. And I appreciate William asking the question, because as boring as it may sound for some to listen to this, it's just an essential mineral that we need to get in our body. It's not that expensive, and it's worth doing, unless you are willing to eat dulse or seaweed or put it on your food, or and it's still very tasty. That I think dulse is the best, better than any seaweed or any kelp. But thanks for letting me ramble on. But I never thought I'd get into that, talking about that today, other than to say that this is just an essential mineral, and we are very deficient in it, especially if you live in middle America and you don't get any iodine. And where are you getting it? The soil's not going to give it to you. This is a coastal thing. This is a seaweed thing. I just don't know. Get it. So, and I'm wondering why hypothyroidism isn't even worse. And hyperthyroidism, that's overactive thyroid. Sometimes the thyroid overreacts and goes hyper before it crashes. And that's an iodine deficiency too. You can clear up hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism by using iodoral. In fact, back in the 1800s up to about 1950, they had a solution called Lugol solution, Lugols, Lugol solution. And all the doctors, all the medical doctors in the day, in the 1800s and 90s, they had a big bottle of Lugol solution. It literally looked like black liquid in a glass jar, and they would give Lugol solution, and it was potassium iodide and iodine together in the right ratio. And Lugols cleared up hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism, both extremely high and low, by using Lugols to balance it. So what am I saying? It's still great. They were doing it back in the day. It's not something new. This is just a tablet form of the liquid that they did in the 1800s. So it's just come back into vogue, because the doctors and all the doctors aren't there to get you well. They aren't there to figure out. They're just there to run tests and and have you and write you a script. So I'm just here to tell you, this isn't new, man. This is 100 years in the making, or more, actually more. But so thanks for letting me babble. But I could save people's thyroids if they would hear it, or then they'd learn. Whatever I say today to Justin and to you guys, go look yourself. Go find out. It's a whole vista of information out there. I don't have to. I can just be a conduit saying, "Hey, man, go look. Don't trust me," and you'll find out. But Brownstein and Abrams are two doctors in Michigan that know their shit on this product, Iodine, and the rest have grabbed onto it. So, William, thanks for asking again on that. He's right. If you're in a area where you don't have any iodine, take iodine. So
yeah. Rizalmi would like to know what brand and how much MSM should someone start with.
I really like this lady, and I couldn't believe that she just ended her website, but she had a brand called Opti MSM, OPTI MSM, Opti MSM. It was a very clean USA made MSM. I would suggest, and she's no longer in business, which I bought like 20 pounds of it before she left, but and I wish I bought more. Damn, but try to get a USA made MSM. I just found that eBay is cheaper than people like Amazon, because they'll get it tomorrow or later that day or whatever. But eBay, 2.2 pounds is also 1,000 grams. Yes. So I always just put in MSM, 1,000 grams or 2.2 pounds, which is a kilo. It seems, oh God, you're buying a kilo. You get a better price buying a kilo than you would half a kilo, and you're going to use it anyhow, and you're going to love it anyhow. And so the brand, oh boy, I'm skipping all over the place on that. Geez, who can you trust? I mean, if I had it near me, I'd pull it out. But
I've got a big tub I got from Nutricost, and it was pretty cheap. So I mean, it's a huge tub. You get a little scooper with it. I mean, it should last me for a long time. So it works well for me. So
yeah. Yes, and the little tricks on that is I heat up water real hot. And you can put it MSM in orange juice, but MSM dissolves very easily in hot water. So you could put MSM in hot water, and it'll just dissolve. And you can just drink it. Or if you don't like the taste, because everything has to taste like a donut, you can add it to orange juice, and you'll never taste it. So you have that. I just say, hey, it tastes like crap, but it really doesn't. It's just slightly bitter, but it's, I don't notice it being unpleasant. I just drink it. I know it's good for me. I take some vitamin C with it. Good vitamin C with bioflavonoids. In real life, vitamin C has bioflavonoids attached to it. Just not ascorbic acid, okay? Just don't buy vitamin C that's ascorbic acid, because that can create free radicals. I won't get into that other than to say bioflavonoids help reuse vitamin C in the body, and it doesn't rob a vital electron that makes it a free radical. So in the regard of vitamin C, take a good one with MSM. And the reason why you want vitamin C with it is because it facilitates the use at a higher rate in the body, and your skin will get soft. And that's the first thing the ladies really know, because they're estrogen-based life forms, women, and they already have really soft skin, and they're very flexible. Estrogen helps build hyaluronic acid. We talk about peptides and things, Justin, like you brought up so smartly. The thing is women are more flexible than men because they're estrogen-based, and estrogen helps build hyaluronic acid, and that makes their skin very moist and very smooth, and their joints very supple and flexible. And so in that regard, women have such nice skin to begin with. So when they take MSM, they really notice it's like, wow, it's like a baby's butt. and and their skin, they just, and Cleopatra of ancient times was reputed to like sulfur baths. And there's sulfur baths all over the United States where it's water, it's thermal water. It's like I forgot what they call them, but they're really what's the word for that, Justin? When the water's like they go to these places for these healing waters, it's like a jacuzzi water. It's warm.
Yeah.
That's sulfur water, by the way.
Can't
That's
think
why
of it. Yeah.
But when they hop in that water and it's warm and they sit in it for an hour, they come out like loose as a goose and they're pain free. It's because their skin sucked up organic sulfur. So it's the same principle. And I don't want to bore you, but that's how good MSM is. Getting back to that. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Matt says, thank you, Eric. Could you also talk on probiotic rich foods like kombucha and kimchi for gut health?
Yes. See, he already knows. This person already knows, but asking me. Yes. And any fermented food like sauerkraut and is it miso and miso tahini, but there are fermented foods that have probiotic benefits, much like kefir. I like kefir. We've talked about kefir too, Justin, in the past. Kefir, kefir, and it's a lot like yogurt. Only in the kefir world, they add the probiotics at the end of the process, but they don't die. Unless it's a kefir that's flavored like banana or strawberry or whatever. Any like yogurts, they'll say, oh, yogurt's got probiotics. It does for a short time, but you better get there the first day it comes in when it's made because it's dying as it's sitting on the shelf. But kefirs are loaded with billions and billions of beneficial bacteria. And he's right. Kombucha and kimchi and sauerkraut, and these things are really good for the gut. And so that's really smart. If you've been on antibiotics, if you're stressed, if you're aging, you're no doubt that your ecosystem, you want your bacteria levels positive to negative, meaning beneficial bacteria. You want 80%, you want the negative to be 20%. So, but what's going on in real life is this: we have a lot of negative, bad bacteria, and we have and what I really like is butyric acid. I like butyric acid. If you want to rebuild the gut, if you've got gut troubles, you want to rebuild the villi to your gut, and yes, of course, kimchi and kefirs and or a probiotic like Healthy Trinity. Very kind of expensive, Healthy Trinity, but one of the best. But I do like. Here I am, Rich, and getting up again. Damn me. Butyric acid. Now this is called butyrine. Now that butyrine, it's colon. What does it say? Colon something lining. Colon lining nutrition. So butyric acid, and it's usually BUTYRC. Butyric acid helps rebuild the gut. If you put butyric acid together with L-glutamine, L-glutamine's an amino acid specifically to help rebuild the gut. These two are like the 1-2 punch of really strengthening the gut and just chasing away the bad guys. And eating wheat, barley, oats, and rye, which I don't suggest. These are killers of the villi of the gut. The intestinal wall has little hairs stick up on it. They're called villi. That's where the nutrients go into the villi. That's where the nutrients get sucked up by the villi. The villi get eroded in the uses when you eat wheat and barley and oats and rye. The villi get what's the best word for that? They just get hammered on and dissolve. So when you have gut issues, yeah, sure, kimchi, kefir. If we want to rebuild the gut, I like butyric acid and L-glutamine. because they're not expensive. You can get butyric acid in many places. This one happens to be a time-released one. That's why it's allergy research. You don't have to get allergy research. There's many butyric acids out there that are very good. It's really, what does it say? Tributyrene complex. I don't know if we can read that. Maybe we can.
Let me see if I can full screen you here.
I don't know. I'm looking at it, and I have a hard time reading that because my camera kind of sucks. But tributyrene, it's tributyrene complex, but that is really, it's been really good for my gut, and I've had gut issues my whole life. I wasn't breastfed. I went to Mexico to do a job in the early 90s, an acting gig for Bob Ginty, which I think he was an actor, and he's dead now. And I got sick. I caught some bug down in Mexico, and that's what took me out of the game. So it was so bad that my kidney shut down. It was sayonara, but I didn't give up. But the point is butyric acid and L-glutamine, and other little things, and of course turmeric phytosome. I kind of had to learn how to rebuild my gut and what it needed. L-glutamine, there's a kissing cousin to L-glutamine called alanine or beta-alanine, but beta-alanine is, I guess, another amino acid. Those two are really good for the gut, and beta-alanine and L-glutamine, L-glutamine. And L-glutamine people will like. It's a fine white powder. It's sweet, slightly sweet. It's not offensive in any way. It goes down smooth. Your gut feels better immediately. It's like, oh. I mean, if you got any upset, if your gut's not right and you're not absorbing right, because everything should be about absorbing nutrients. So we want to make sure the villi are strong and healthy. And so butyric acid, and you can look into butyric acid. It's in ghee, and it's in butters and clarified butters. It's in foods we eat. We just don't get enough. So only to get off on that to say, look into these things, if you're interested at all, because your health matters to me, and it'll matter to you. If when we're 20 and then 30, Justin, we were invincible, right? Jeez, you know.
I've been taking L-glutamine for several months now, so.
And it's really good. And Ronald Klatz wrote a book about growth hormone releasers. And it was like, instead of taking GH like Sylvester Stallone and all these celebrities, it's like, what amino acids would release growth hormone? Because as we age, we have an enzyme that keeps us, it's like an enzyme in our system rises and stops the release of growth hormone as we age. And so how do we release growth hormone? Well, they found out that arginine does it, ornithine does it, arginine and ornithine do it. But it seems like over the age of 50, which none of the audience here is yet, but over the age of 50, it said glutamine was a really good GH releaser, especially empty stomach at night before you go to bed, like a heaping teaspoon. And apparently by Ronald Klatz's book about growth hormone release, it's good for that too. But not that I would, I don't take it for that. I take it for gut health. And also, it's important to know this, because I'm glad we're on this subject, only to say this, that glutamine in general is made by the body. It's made by the muscles. It's made by the pecs and the shoulders and the thighs, it's made by all the muscles, but it's not made by the intestinal tract. So the intestinal tract has to live or die with glutamine by the muscles making it, and it steals from the musculature. So so then you ask the question, okay, so the muscles make it and the intestinal tract pilfers it steals it from the muscles to keep intestinal health. Great. Here's the problem. If you're very active with your muscles and you're working, you're training them, or you're maybe even overtraining them. I learned this from a sports medical guy that was a clinical nutritionist. He said, most athletes come in here have gut troubles. Why? Because the more you train your muscles, the less glutamine they make. Glutamine is only made in the muscles when they're at rest and they're rested. If they're all stressed, glutamine is not made at any significant level to even satisfy the muscles need for it, because the muscles need glutamine. So you need glutamine for your muscles, and you need glutamine for your intestinal tract. If you're overstressing your muscles, you don't even make enough for the musculature, and the intestinal tract suffers. And then the villi get degrade. And so that is why I'm only bringing up the backstory on glutamine, because if you're very active, I learned that from a sports medicine guy that I mentioned. He said, look, all I get is athletes in here with gut troubles. He goes, it took me 20 years to figure this out. And he shared it with me. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, I've done a lot of research on this and blah, blah, blah. And then what I just said to you, he told me. And it basically, so if we can get glutamine in directly into the gut, great. There's other glutamines that are really good for bodybuilding that called TAG, transalanine glutamine. It's alanine and glutamine bonded together, but it goes into the intestinal wall, and then it quickly, see, glutamine normally when you take it into the gut, it doesn't share, it doesn't go out of the gut, it stays in there, and it doesn't go out and get into the tissues. But transalanine TAG does, it goes into the gut and goes into the muscles for bodybuilding. So you can fuel more glutamine into your muscles by taking a form of L-glutamine called TAG. But if we're just looking at glutamine for the gut, knowing that now that the muscles make it and the gut shares it from the muscles, but at what rate? Even if you don't work out at all, are you making enough glutamine to satisfy the needs of the gut? Because it is depending on the muscles for its glutamine. So I say take glutamine. It's not cheap, or it's not expensive. It's get it again. eBay, buy the kilo. It's dirt cheap. Now that's not expensive. And so that's my 2 cents. So I feel like I should move to Kentucky.
Well, you've got a lady, we've got a place to stay for sure.
Yeah. So. No, I like that. That's really kind.
Do you have any upcoming convention appearances?
No, I'm not wanted, but Dominic's working on it. It's funny. Prior to Christmas, I'm hot stuff for all 2 minutes and then poof. But I would like to do another convention soon, and I'm not as popular as Bob, but we do well together. So, but no.
Well, if there's a convention near you that you would like to see Eric attend, you need to get up with that convention on their social and say, hey, we want Eric at this convention. And I'm sure they know his manager. I'm sure every convention in this country and probably several others know of Eric's manager, and they'll reach out and hopefully they can, make that happen. So
yeah, I want to apologize to you, Justin, right now, and because we've been just rattling on this stuff, and it's and I know it's killing some people. There's falling off or something, but I apologize for anybody I'm boring you. You can tell I'm fascinated by it, right? So I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, this is good information, and this is stuff that people need to know and people want to know. So, like, for instance, where'd that go? My buddy Apollo Balboa says, Happy New Year, fellas. Eric, what is your opinion on diet soda? He loves it. Can't you tell? He loves it.
Yeah, he does. And people do. And I understand. I get it. I just, oh no. Okay. Phosphoric acid, citric acid, and sugar. But if it's diet soda, it's phosphorus acid, citric acid, and then some weird sugar your body can't even recognize. Phosphoric acid is I was told a long time ago that it takes about 32 containers of the same amount of, for example, you drink 12 ounces of diet soda, a can of Diet Coke. You need to drink 32 to neutralize the acids from that can of Coke. You know that old story, you can drop like you can, maybe you're young and your new teeth were coming in. You had an old tooth. If you drop a tooth into Diet Coke or any Coke, like we used to do that when I was a kid. We drop a tooth in there or anything, a piece of bone, and it would be gone by the morning, sitting in the Coke, because there's so much phosphoric acid and citric acid, it just eats it up. But the point is the body has to keep a proper pH. It has to have fine, tight parameters of acid versus alkaline. Otherwise, we're dead. I'm talking to you because my body is valiantly using minerals to buffer all the acids I'm making by eating high protein or just Bear Claws or Diet Coke or whatever you like. These are all acid producing foods. There's a lot of phosphoric acid in flesh, in meat, chicken, beef, whatever you're into. There's phosphorus in there, and that acts a lot like phosphoric acid in sodas. The body has to use a lot of calcium and other buffering agents in the sodium world and in this and that to alkalinize the body's tissues, to fight the acids. We make acids. It's what's that old story? We're alkaline by nature. We are acidic by function. We're acidic by function of all the foods we eat that are acid forming. Diet Cokes, and look, I get it. I'm not going to tell anyone not to do anything. I want to be your friend. I'm not going to tell you to change anything. Don't. But I would just say that keep in mind, if you were to drink diet sodas and this and that, I would want to up your minerals. I would want to up your calcium citrate and your magnesium glycinate and your vitamin D. Make sure that status is up, and your K2. Calcium citrate, magnesium glycinate. This is the magnesium of choice, not magnesium citrate. You saw that this is calcium citrate. Do not get magnesium citrate, because that, you'll sit on the toilet cursing me to your dying day. No, it pulls more water into the bowel, and it's used for enemas and things. Magnesium citrate, it'll make you go and go and go unless you build up a tolerance. Magnesium citrate has high absorption levels, but it's not the preferred magnesium. This is very kind and gentle. Glycine is an amino acid that the magnesium is bonded to. It's a chelated magnesium. It's gentle. It has a high absorption level. It's not expensive, and it's very good. Magnesium is needed for almost every nutrient you take in your body. 600 biochemical reactions, 300 enzyme systems. Magnesium. So it's almost more important than calcium, but it isn't. They're both. So I would just say the acids in the soda are not good. You have to buffer all these acids we're making. And so if you notice things like you're grinding your teeth at night, restless leg syndrome, insomnia, and about 100 other symptoms are fluttering eyelid. If you have one eyelid that's just fluttering for no reason in the middle of the day or any time of the day, calcium deficiency, calcium deficiency, calcium deficiency. So it's just well known to me, I guess. But we have to buffer the acids by taking in the proper minerals. We are acidic by function. If you're adding to the acidity by I'm a bodybuilder and I'm eating 1,500 grams of protein a day, and well, that's fine, but you don't need that. But people do. But that high protein requires more iodine for your thyroid. It requires more calcium to offset all the acids being made, and you have to deal with the acidic nature of the body and by buffering these acids, calcium and magnesium and sodium turns in the body. It helps buffer the acids too. And I like salt. And right, Himalayan salt is low in iodine, but it's got so many minerals in it. That's why it's whatever you want to call it, pink or red or whatever the color. Sometimes it's really dark pink, but it's because it's got a lot of minerals in it. It would be white if it didn't have the minerals. So Himalayan salt and is very good for you. Pink salt, any kind of air dried sea salt, good. Don't be scared of salt. Just don't take too much. And then it's not about high blood pressure. It's just about, you want to have salt, gets you stronger. Salt is good for the gym and exercise. Salt, if you're weak, if you stand up and you're dizzy and you're unclear and you're staggering around, you're not really sure on your feet. And anytime you get up quickly, or you get up quickly from a piece of gym equipment you're working and you're dizzy, you are salt deficient. You need more salt. I would look at salt deficiency in exercise, etc., anything like that on YouTube. There's a lot of smart bodybuilders talking about sodium and bodybuilding. You get much stronger on salt. You don't need a lot, but you need it. And people stay away from salt because their doctor says it's bad, and because their doctor doesn't know. But it's not bad, and it can only on very rare occasions cause high blood pressure. It creates more blood volume, but it doesn't create high blood pressure. That has to do with high blood pressure. We can talk about another time, but that, in short, has to do with a tightening down of our arteries. Our contracted arteries give you high blood pressure. Arteries take blood away from the heart. Veins bring the blood back up to the heart. But the arteries have smooth muscle around them. And the smooth muscle around the arteries contracts and contracts and gets smaller and smaller. Therefore, the heart has to beat harder and harder to get blood through a smaller hole. And that is high blood pressure in a nutshell. It's contraction of your arteries, making your heart beat harder. That makes high blood pressure, kills your kidneys. Your kidneys don't want high blood pressure. They're very delicate. So you kill your kidneys, you kill your heart because it's beating twice as hard as it should be. And when all you have to do is relax the arteries, it might be as simple as magnesium, but generally it's a little bit more. We want to raise nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas our body makes. We make a lot of it when we're younger, but it's a gas that its sole job is to vasodilate and open up. Okay, so it opens up the arteries, this nitric oxide. Magnesium has a tendency of lowering blood pressure in the same it's a relaxer. It's a relaxer of the muscles. It's a relaxer of tissues. It's very good for relaxing. Take at least 3 of these a day. That would be 400 milligrams. I suggest more than that, a little bit more. For example, calcium should be 1,200 milligrams a day. Magnesium should be half that or thereabouts, anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams. And the reason I say that is magnesium is your first place to start. If you have high blood pressure or worried about it, start taking some magnesium and watch your body relax. You'll feel a lot better. Everything will start clicking. And but that high blood pressure is contraction of arteries, and we want to open those up. Once we do, the blood flow is the volume of blood is now moving, and the heart slows down. And then so we're good. So high blood pressure, no matter what, your doctor, I guarantee you, I'm looking right at you, your doctor cannot explain high blood pressure. I just did. Contraction of arteries. They don't know. They just give you the shrug. Oh, here, take this pill. Go fill this prescription and stay away from salt. Okay? Morons. Sorry. I love doctors, but they only had 8 hours of nutritional training in the 8 years of becoming a doctor. Do they know anything? No. Sorry, they don't. And I don't mean to be mean. And there's a doctor out there listening going, hey, you son of a... I'll put my brain up against his, and I don't really know much. And it's contraction of the arteries, the smooth muscle around the veins called an artery. It's contraction. We need to open this up. So that is high blood pressure. It can be whether your father's got it, your mother's got it, you may have it. It's not hard to deal with. You can get a nitric oxide lozenge under the tongue. I can tell you how to do that with the food. We eat dietary nitrates. The nitrates we eat from the food, when you're chewing them, it converts into nitrite at the back of the tongue. Nitrates into nitrite at the back of the tongue. That nitrite conversion at the back of the tongue, now it's ready to go down the esophagus into the gut, hit the hydrochloric acid of the gut, and that's where nitric oxide is produced. If you're eating to produce nitric oxide, That's how it's done, through the foods we eat and at the back of the tongue. It also is made, nitric oxide, in the endothelium by working out. So you get it by working out, exercise, or by the foods we eat. Back of the tongue, nitrates to nitrite. They'll say beet, you eat beets and beets powders and beets this and beet that. If there is some nitrates in beets, good. And it all depends on the soil they're grown in. But if you have nitrates in beets and you put the beet chew in your mouth, chew it for a while, let it dissolve on the back of the tongue, where nitrate to nitrite, and then you have that, you're setting yourself up for nitric oxide production in the gut. So that's how you build your nitric oxide. They have nitric oxide lozenges, where are literally nitrites. You take one step away. Instead of eating nitrates to get nitrite, they have nitrite lozenges that are also citrulline and berry flavored and hawthorn and all sorts of good vasodilators and nitric oxide precursors and helpers. And if you take this nitric oxide lozenge under the tongue and you suck on it, the juice goes, it's already a nitrite in form, so it doesn't even need to hit the back of the throat. But once it goes down into the gut, nitric oxide is produced. So we can, Dr. Nathan Bryan, Bryan, Dr. Nathan Bryan, foremost authority on nitric oxide production. You can look on YouTube and see Dr. Nathan Bryan, and you can learn all about nitric oxide production and high blood pressure. He's got his own line of nitric oxide. He's got 2 different products on Amazon. One's really expensive and the other is not. And they're both the same damn thing. So, just what I've learned. It's kind of like, if you're smart, you go buying this one. But I just wanted to branch out, because a lot of people have high blood pressure, and that's easy to whip. But start with magnesium, just because it'll relax your arteries and your muscular system, and it'll make you feel better. And it does a pretty good job of lowering blood pressure on its own. Although people don't, will say, I don't get it. It just, it can help. It can keep it down with normal. But calcium, magnesium in general, calcium's more of a constrictor and magnesium's a vasodilator. So, but they work together as a vasodilator if they're taken together. So I'm boring you again, but that's an important, that high blood pressure is important. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people suffer from high,
and that's a
high blood
killer.
pressure.
That is a silent killer. Kills your heart, kills your kidneys. And
well, we were speaking of the devil a few minutes ago, and he showed up in the chat. So Dominic is here. Eric's manager, Dominic from Full Empire Promotions, is here. So I was just telling everybody that if they want to see Eric at a convention, they need to get in touch with that convention, and then I'm sure the convention knows you, and they'll have to get in touch with you and try and make that happen.
he's funny. He's such a funny guy. He is so deadpan with Dominic. He's just I can get off this thing and talk. There's funny. I almost should say this. I don't know if I should. We're at this con. It's not even a con. We're in a mall. We're in a mall by the entryway. It's 50 degrees out, gusting wind, pouring rain. It's horrible. And we're freezing like popsicles at this con. And we're just dying. And nobody's there. It's just horrible. So but it was just 3 of us. It was Robert Wilson, myself, and Scott McDonald, and we're signing, or we're pretending to sign, or we're kind of not signing at all. And so we're there, and Dominic's there taking care of Robert because he's busier than I am, and Dominic's so just lovely. So we have these photo ops. Normally it's a separate company that comes in for photo ops because it's a big machine, and they're doing photo ops for all the talent, and it's a big arrangement, and they're busy all day, nonstop, all weekend. But this photo op was just that the person that wants to buy a picture of Robert and I together in Santa suits just shows up with his camera, his phone, and we take picture with his phone with a backdrop, and just in this cold room. This was right by the front of the mall. It was a State Farm office. It was long closed, and it was 50 degrees in there if it was anything. So it's freezing cold, and we got this backdrop there, and we're doing these photo ops, and because it's just no traffic. Saturday we had 3 photo ops. I think we had 2 on Sunday. So it's a Sunday. Robert and I are getting into Santa suits and all our stuff on for two pictures. And so it's just Dominic and Robert and me and the buyer of the photo. And so we got, with the one comes in, does his thing, and we do it, and we got axes, and we're doing our thing, and we get the photo. And the second guy, we do this picture, and he just does not like it. He's looking at it going, oh man, my eyes were shut. And I said, look, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. Well, let's do it again. I said, look, I'll choke you. And he's going, okay, we'll do it again. So we do it again, and I'm wringing his neck, and it's looking good. And then he gets it back, and he's looking at his phone. It's like, he's kind of grumbling. And then Dominic walks up with this best deadpan and says, look, we're wasting time. Just drop your pants. And the guy's already, he starts shaking. Literally, he's like, what? There's just Robert, me, Dominic in there. He's like, just drop your pants. And then I quickly said, yeah, I'll sever your penis for free. The guy just literally split. He just, woof, and he's gone. And we never saw him the rest of the day. And it was the funniest thing. And all night we're drinking beers and eating dinner and just laughing about it, because we were just so off our rocker, all of us. I was clearly loony, so but it was funny because Dominic was just so perfect with the deadpan. It was just straight out of perfect. And then I came in with a sever your penis. It was lovely. And the guy was just like, I got to get out of here.
Those pictures were good enough at that point.
Yeah,
he was happy with those pictures at that point.
I probably didn't do it right, but explaining it, but damn. Dominic's like classic. So and our boss, you see our boss, you'd think he'd be, wouldn't do that. But he was right there in the gutter with all of us. So I just love that. And so he made it tolerable. I mean, really, I was so miserable. I was wearing long underwear in my pants, and I'm just dying out there in the cold. And so that was just a private little thing for a guy that wanted us to show up at his mall, and an unusual circumstance. So it was the dinner and laughing all night was just glorious, because I needed that. And so thanks for Dominic popping in there, you son of a bitch. So anyhow.
Bog Zombie would like to know, is your website back up, or is it coming back anytime soon?
I no, I'm gonna just get this lady to do it. I'm gonna get a lady to make me one, and so I just have it. I just need my own site. And I actually went back to Wix to ask if I could, grovel on my hands and knees. Can I get it back? And I think I probably could. It's still there. I went and popped in on it. It's still there. Beautiful thing. A good friend of mine made it for me, and I went and let it go. I should get it back, or have another one made private.
Well, if anybody wants to buy like a photo from you, or I know you've got some small garbage cans you can sign.
You mean something like that?
Yeah, there you go. Hold on. Let me put you on solo screen there. There you go.
Please. Now this is cute. It's got, you put your cotton balls in it, or your pens in it, or your whatever, it's a miniature version of the bigger one. So how silly, huh?
Where can people get in touch with you if they would want to purchase one of those cans, or a photo, or
I don't even know. I got 50 of them. I was going to do something before Christmas and just get it on eBay. I'll just put it on eBay. I'll put it on eBay, and I'll take the slings and arrows of eBay and the PayPal and whatever. But yeah, they're cool. It might be late in the year for that, but I think the can's good year round. It delivers its laughs. So yeah, I'm sorry to diverge on get into the can thing, but yeah, that was always a big seller. The little can. I thought the little can was kind of cuter than the big can. So that was a Chinese. China. See, I ordered them, but it was a slow boat from China. By the time I got them, it was just about Christmas. I said, "Oh damn, I'm missing the whole season," so I just let it go. And it's like, oh heck.
Well, keep an eye on. I'm sure if once you get them posted on eBay, let me know, and I'll make it. I'll share the link so everybody knows if they want to grab one.
Anyhow, sorry, I'm all over the place. What are we going to talk about next? Guitars?
Well, Dominic says, and the door locked from the inside. So this dude was trapped with 3 guys, 2 in Santa suits, and 1 6'4" dude asking him to drop his pants.
Yeah. Oh, it was a classic. It was had to be there, but it was beyond funny.
Ah, geez.
I'm going to laugh about that till I don't know when, but it all was very strange. Gypsies, and the gypsies were collecting money. I somehow made a lot of money on Sunday, but I didn't. Dominic's like, "Where's the money?" I said, well,
They got up and walked away, I guess.
yeah, no, gypsies. It was straight like from Snatch, that Brad Pitt's movie, The Gypsies. That's who was collecting my money for the weekend. It was just beyond everything about it. No, I know. It was just what Robert says something. It's an S show. It's a crap show, and but yeah, well, it was one of those. But it had nothing to do with Dominic. We all went in there with high expectations. It just was not advertised well. It wasn't. Nothing was done right on that end. The end of the promoter, he fell down. So that's all. But that happens.
That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. Let's see here. Let me my buddy Swaggy, who's in the chat, who is a patron of mine, he says, does Eric have any advice on how someone can maintain and stay motivated on creating healthy habits, such as eating right and exercising for the new year?
Yeah, look, that's what we talked about before we started the show. Is I wanted to talk briefly, and look, I've killed everyone so far. They probably left, but I just wanted to talk about B vitamins and additional thiamine. And I wanted to start off by saying we should all be taking a good B complex, but better yet, you want to take activated B complex. And what I mean by activated is all the B vitamins that are in here are in their active form. Normally, when you eat food, you would get B vitamins in some of your food, and it has to go through many enzymatic changes and many. It's like going through an obstacle course and ring of fire, jump through a hoop, run through the tires, and there's a lot of different biochemical steps that have to be done to convert food into activated B vitamins. But my suggestion is to take 3 of these a day, 1, 2, and 3 with meals. So and yes, you're going to pee out some yellow and you're going to lose a little bit, but they're also there. So the topic today was really about thiamine. And there's types of thiamine. This is the dirt cheap thiamine. I keep putting up Swanson stuff because this is where you can save a lot of money. But why I want you to take thiamine, but not just thiamine alone, but also tag them along with the B complex. There's thiamine in here, but it's not a lot. And the reason I wanted to bring up thiamine, because there's a lot of buzz on thiamine. The man that spent 50 years on thiamine and all the deficiency symptomology and the ill health we feel on a day-to-day basis can be attributed to a thiamine deficiency, especially if you eat carbohydrates, you drink alcohol, you drink tea. These are all things that diminish the thiamine. Carbohydrates need thiamine to convert the carbs into mitochondrial energy. when we talk energy, I'm not talking about the energy to roof a house or fall off the roof or move something real heavy. I'm not talking about that kind of energy or chopping wood. I'm talking about cellular energy. And so to create cellular energy, we need thiamine. But also I'm going to read off a list of all the symptoms and where you may need B1. You may need thiamine if you have any of these problems. Of course, not only if you take in carbohydrates, and people overeat carbs. I overeat carbs. I eat clean carbs, but I overeat carbs, and because they give me glucose and blood sugar. But you need to convert those carbohydrates not only to blood sugar, but to mitochondrial energy. And B1 in particular is involved in 5 huge enzyme systems in the body. And without B1 in adequate amounts, and some of us don't make B vitamins in our gut. Many don't. You have to have the perfect gut, be breastfed, never taken antibiotics, no stress in your life, and you can make some B vitamins in your gut. If the ecosystem is right. We talked about the 80-20, you have to have positive beneficial bacteria in your gut to make B vitamins. Most people don't have that. And so we go back to the question on, what do we do about gut health? And we address that. But look at this, man. I noticed immediately on taking thiamine, that extra additional thiamine, and there's better thiamines than that one. There's one called allithiamine. I wish I had it here. ALLITHIAMINE. Allithiamine. And it's produced really from garlic, but it's really bioavailable to the body. It has a much higher level of efficacy in the body, allithiamine. But we'll get in that in a minute. There's better thiamines than this. It's also known as TTFD. That allithiamine is known as TTFD. But if you go and look at thiamine deficiency or B1 deficiency in YouTube, you will again be hit with voluminous amounts of information. And I would want you to go listen to this interview by Derek Lonsdale is the doctor that studied thiamine his whole life, and he worked with giving additional thiamine to patients and watching miracles happen. Okay, if you have edema in your body, fluid retention, look at thiamine. If you have mental confusion, look at thiamine. Ataxia, that's like staggering. It's like not being sure-footed. So a hearing loss, sleep apnea, peripheral neuropathy, dizziness, highly irritated. It calms your nerves. That's immediately what I knew. I took thiamine. I was calm. I could breathe easier, way better breathing. And I don't have bad breathing, but I just go like, wow, it's so smooth and clear. So dizziness, highly irritated, stomach valves, upper and lower. You have pyloric valves. You have the valve on the upper part of the stomach and the lower. And people that have a like GERD or reflux, thiamine keeps those valves really tight and like your sphincter, real tight and closed off. But in a lack of thiamine, they're loose and flabby. So pyloric valves, your stomach valves, are dependent on thiamine. And I don't mean to be funny. Relieves constipation. That's the other thing I noticed. I don't really have a problem, but I noticed, I'm going a lot better. So relieves constipation, calms you, anxiety, aids in depression, cataracts, heart issues, energy, mitochondrial, utilizes carbs for energy, motion sickness, canker sores. You got a canker sore, you might be B1 deficient, or canker sores, if that's an ongoing issue, might be B1 deficient. Restless leg syndrome. That also can be attributed to calcium as well, a mineral deficiency, but it's also B1. Panic attacks, nightmares, easier breathing, I mentioned, but it's all magnesium dependent. So this is the guy that makes B1 work along with all the other B vitamins. So magnesium deficiency is a problem for all B vitamins and all minerals. B1 is a cofactor for 5 enzyme systems. It rids excessive estradiol out of the system for women, and that's good because estradiol is in excess is also can cause cancer because we have 16-hydroxyesterol, and then we hopefully can convert it to 2-hydroxyesterol, estradiol. So that is very, very beneficial. 2-hydroxy is good, 16 is not. That's the cancer causer. So estrogens can cause cancer in excessive amounts if they're not converted by cruciferous vegetables, etc. Give the liver what it needs to convert 16-hydroxyestrone to 2-hydroxyestrone, making it safe for a woman and keeping that's what you want to keep your levels of 16 low, and so that's what cruciferous vegetables like you name it, broccoli and cauliflower, or taking a supplement called DIM, diindol methane, DIM, or etc. or equivalent. So, but it helps with excessive estradiol. Lack of tears. If you have lack of tears, think of B1. This is the question. What arose in me to talk about this was that question. Exercise intolerance is a lack of B1. You go to the gym, or you don't want to go to the gym, or you go to the gym, you do one set of something like, I'm pooped, I'm sick, I'm out of here. I get it. So B1 helps with willpower, if you will. Exercise intolerance, I mentioned, insomnia. So, nutritional yeast is a very good form of B vitamins, including B1, nutritional yeast, not brewer's yeast. So if you like natural food things, nutritional yeast is also good, but I would take additional thiamine. In my world, 3 of these a day. These are only 100 milligrams. This bottle is like $7 or $8 on, I got, I don't know, 25, 30% of whatever. Not expensive. Maybe it's $10 normally, big bottle, 250 capsules, but allithiamin's better than B1, but you can look out there and the guys to look at for B1 and everything you want to know about B1 deficiency and thiamine is Dr. Osborne. I think it's Peter Osborne or Dr. Berg. Berg is good. Peter Osborne is very granular, even better. He's a practicing doctor, works with patients and runs all the tests. And Osborne's brilliant. He's a smart guy, and he's just very granular, and I like granular. And I would say the guide to look at, if you wanted to learn about the one thing I wanted to say is Derek Lonsdale. Where is this guy on here? I just scribbled it. Oh, it's right on the front. Yes. If you were to go to YouTube and you put world's #1 thiamine expert, Dr. Derek Lonsdale, you'll the 3rd or 4th or 5th, I'll re-say that, but the 5th video down, it'll be Dr. Lonsdale is being interviewed by a young lady, and he's about 90 or 95 at the time. And he lived till 100. He just died, but he's foremost authority. The reason I want you to look at that is because he kind of spells out in a nutshell why you want to be taking thiamine. And he doesn't believe in drugs. Drugs are poisons that the body has to use a copious amount of nutrients for to metabolize these drugs and get them out of the body. So drugs don't do anything for you. They're just going to be a burden to the body, and they're going to use an excessive amount of nutrients to get them the hell out of the body. So he kind of talks about that. But Dr. Derek Lonsdale, that's DERRICK, Lonsdale is LONSDALE, Lonsdale. So it says world's #1 thiamine expert, Dr. Derek Lonsdale. Rest in peace. That was the name of the title. But it was, if you just put Dr. Derek Lonsdale, #1, thiamine expert, he wrote the book on it. And I only bring that up because thiamine is known as the great imitator. There's over 100 symptoms of a B1 deficiency. I just rattled off some. And, but especially if you eat carbohydrates or drink alcohol. And I imagine people do both. Eat a lot of carbs, eat a pizza, this and that, drink a beer. You're thiamine deficient, my friend. So do yourself some favors and take activated B complex. Take some B1. It's activated B complex is also known as this coenzyme B complex. This is Country Life. People have seen this particular brand everywhere. So this is the same thing as activated B vitamins. This just happens to be less expensive. There's only so many B vitamin makers out there. Swanson slaps their label on it. But somebody's, it's like CoQ10. The Japanese make the CoQ10. Everyone slaps their labels on it. And all of a sudden there's 83 different choices, but there really isn't. It's all made by they're top at it. So, that's why I wanted to get into thiamine. Thank you for letting me spout on. But my today's thing was all about, I would never say to do this or that, or curb your calories or this, or make sure your expenditure exceeds your intake. That's up to you. You know what to do for yourself. You know what you're doing, and you know what you're doing something wrong. But I would say if you could up your B vitamins, active B vitamins 3 a day of the thiamine, maybe get some better alley-thiamine as you start learning about this, you're doing yourself a world of good. Of course, you want to make sure you take magnesium, glycinate, at least 3 of these a day. Each one's 113 milligrams, as I recall. So it's about 133, excuse me. It's like 400 milligrams if you take 3 of these a day, divided doses. So magnesium, to make it all work, activated B vitamins, thiamine. And then if we can branch off and say, let's talk about our bones, I would say D3 at 5,000 units a day. And you know that, Justin. Calcium citrate. Try to get, our RDA, of our government, says 1,200 milligrams a day, and our government's, not very bright. But calcium and magnesium, vitamin D at 5,000 units. And this isn't Swanson, but Swanson has a less expensive. This is called MK7, also known as vitamin K2. K2 is important to only let you know that calcium needs K2. K2 directs calcium into the bone. Without K2, calcium stays higher amounts in the tissues. That's not necessarily good. K2 directs it into the bone. Vitamin D pulls calcium out of the foods we eat. And it turns on your DNA, and it's an immune system bolster. It's wonderful. This wears so many hats, it's not even funny. Mm-hmm. So K2 directs the calcium into the bone. D pulls it out of the food we eat. So that's a real simple thing. If you can work on the D3, calcium and magnesium and K2, and then you also have the magnesium there, so you can take your B vitamins. And if you can take that, you'll feel a lot better. Things, if any of that list, and I'm sure that hits somebody with that, they will feel better. They will notice they will breathe better. Their anxiety, they'll just be calmer. They'll be a sweeter person to themselves and others. You can take nutritional yeast to get your B vitamins too on top of it. I do both. Why not? What do I care? I'm doing both. So yeah, and all these things I mentioned, carbs just deplete thiamine at a record level. So then we don't have it for all the other systems of the body that's necessary. So that was my spiel on that. And that's why when you said new year, new you, I thought, okay, B vitamins, thiamine, and magnesium. If nothing else, those 3, and see how much better you feel. And then we can check in. We don't have to wait a year, but maybe you can check in somehow, or you can get the feedback, Justin, and say, hey man, my people are feeling better. And they demand more of Caldwell. And then but no, I don't mean to be so. Jack LaLanne, that famous fitness guy from years ago, he said, I've learned a few things in this long life of mine. He said that don't try to change your friends, just accept them. And it was the best advice I heard, because I'm not trying to pound you over the head and change this and change that. I like to eat. I like this. I like that. I like to do what everyone else does. So I would never say, hey, do this or that. But if you could exercise and move a little bit more than you are, great. With men, and it's good that men want to move. I think men should stress themselves every day in some way. I mean, look, if you stress yourself in the gym or any other kind of physical exercise, or just go out and walk or something, it's really good for you, especially circulation, and it's just it's good for sex drive and things like that, and just overall just get moving the circulation. Magnesium can help with that, and relaxing the arteries and stuff. But I just think it's good to do something. You can just go out and walk for a half an hour or so, and just because you'll feel better mentally, physically. So
yeah. Let's see. We've got a super chat that came in, but you mentioned stress, and I want to bring this up. Rizami asks, what would Eric recommend for reducing / helping stress and anxiety? Ashwagandha is what I would say.
That is like perfect. It also is a really good for the endocrine system. It can be a little bit yang, a little bit warming. Well, that's just good for some. But ashwagandha, there's Himalaya brand comes to mind, because that stuff is super strong. Ashwagandha is a word that means smells like horse. And a good ashwagandha, you open it up and it'll smell like sweaty horse. And Himalaya brand ashwagandha is organic and very very horsey. So that's a good one. And but there's KSM 66 ashwagandha. I like Himalaya brand. The Himalaya is a pressed tablet straight from the Himalayan mountains, literally, but it's so powerful. So one of those, they say one a day, and they mean it, just one a day. But also no theanine. Theanine, I like theanine. It's considered 200 milligrams of Zen. This, you take one of these, or possibly even two if you need it, and it really calms you down. It's a precursor to GABA, GABA. And theanine, the GABA is a neurotransmitter that's a calmer of the mind. So we have excitatory, and then we have inhibitory of the mind. And Americans and human beings all over the world are too much excitatory. They're jacking themselves on the bowl or the coffee or the this or the 5-hour energy or any kind of way to they're jacking themselves on the excitatory neurotransmitters, but the neurotransmitters that are inhibitory are being ripped off. And so theanine is a precursor to GABA. You could take GABA, but it seems to work better if you have the precursor. So this theanine at 200 milligrams a day is very light. 200 milligrams. And but you could take two. But I like theanine. I like glycine. It's an amino acid. It's like magnesium glycinate. It's tagged along in the magnesium. Glycine is a calmer of a neurotransmitter calmer. There's many others. There's other ones, all these. This is called Deep Sleep. Now, this is kind of an expensive little product, but I must say what's in it is very interesting. I mean, it's got all these calmers in there. Of course, it's got, passion flower, valerian. Now, valerian is not expensive at all. I love valerian because it's dirt cheap. And if I know I have it here, it's hiding here. Now, Swanson's got valerian root. And valerian root is that'll just mellow you out, man. That's good. Valerian makes you, if you have any concerns on sleeping and anxiety, valerian root is not expensive. It's very good. Valerian root and theanine is really good. This is a good product, although I think it's kind of expensive for what's in here. But it's got passion flower and hops and chamomile and it's even got valerian in here. It's one of the first ones. But yeah, because it has valerian here and orange peel and all, it's just kind of a synergistic calmer called Deep Sleep. It's a good product. It does knock the edge off of saving money, thinking about it. Valerian root would be the inexpensive way to go. Theanine. But yes, that's the answer to that question. There's others. Certainly there's others, and it's not coming to my brain.
What about what is it?
And you know,
Rhodolius rozoia or something like that.
rhodiola rosea,
Rosea, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
very good. Rhodiola and ashwagandha. Rhodiola, a very good energizing herb again, are also known as Arctic root, but it again will it's one of these adaptogens that'll help calm you. It's a good one. So you can try rhodiola, but if you want, ashwagandha by Himalaya. If I were to pick one, there's KSM 66 as mentioned, but I do like Himalaya and you can get that at Swanson because they sell other stuffs there too. But a Himalaya brand, that's the ass kicker of ashwagandhas. I must say, I've tried them all, but it will sync up it's an adaptogenic, and it seems to work on the endocrine system. It syncs up the brain and the adrenals and the PHA axis, the peripheral. It syncs it all up, the whole feedback loop between brain and glands. That's why it's good ashwagandha. But yeah, that would help because it's supposed to be help with stress, and I'm glad you brought that up. That was an excellent call. But yeah, that you can try these if you're just looking at like calming the mind or calming the neurotransmitter inhibitors, because we again address too much excitatory, and then the inhibitory is being ripped off, and so GABA, raising GABA. You could try tryptophan too. Tryptophan 500 milligrams. Tryptophan is very good because it can deal with a very potent, is a neurotransmitter all on its own. There's the GABA, it's a major one, and tryptophan will work on serotonin. I'm thinking of women. They have a hard time raising serotonin through eating carbohydrates. As you know, when you eat carbs, you get sleepy, you get tired. Well, this is raising serotonin, but women have a harder time raising serotonin in that respect of carbohydrate intake. Plus, a lot of women stay away from carbs more than men do because they just are more aware of their bodies, and men will just eat anything that's not nailed down. And but raising serotonin by use of tryptophan is also a good way to curb your apostat. You're not as hungry. So you could try tryptophan or valerian or theanine as a GABA precursor, ashwagandha. You could try rhodiola. But you could look into these things because here we are bringing this stuff up, but a little bit of research and you'll say, hey, let me try 2 valerian. If you're going to take valerian, take 2, and you can get standardized, which means that every pill is the same potency. So you can get standardized valerian from Swanson as well. That's just your standard. That's just a good one. But valerian is very potent smelling, but it doesn't matter because you swallow the capsules and you don't know. But so that's a real good way to calm if you're a hypothyroid, or you have, and that's another thing. People say I have adrenal burnout, or I have adrenal issues, or I have this, or I'm stressed, and stress is just your body gobbling up nutrients like B vitamins, etc. But what do your adrenal glands need for health? They need B vitamins. They need salt. They need rest. And they need cholesterol. And you say cholesterol's bad. My doctor said cholesterol's bad. I've been told since 1950 cholesterol's bad. Yes, I know. And so cholesterol, and Justin knows this, and I'll just say this, that cholesterol is important to the body. Our liver makes a little bit of it, but we need to ingest cholesterol, whether it be eggs, which would be the preferred way to go because you get the lecithin in there. You get all these mind nutrients in there for proper memory function, like all the phosphatidyl groups. The yellow in the egg is the lecithin. So and it emulsifies the cholesterol. It's in there. It's such a beautiful, wondrous little thing. The yolk is more important than the white, but in that cholesterol in the egg, if you properly prepare it, meaning don't, I'm not into scrambled. I don't think fusing that yolk is smart, because then it's fused. If the cholesterol is in there, don't adulterate it. Sunny side up if you can eat eggs, or otherwise literally rare meats, butter, cheeses. Cholesterol is good for you. Why? Because this cholesterol goes to your liver, and that's where the mother of all hormones is made, pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is the mother of all hormones, made from cholesterol. Cholesterol converts into pregnenolone, which from pregnenolone gives you estradiol, estriol, it gives you all 3 estrogens, and I'm sorry, why don't I know the third one? Esterone. So it gives you all 3 estrogens. It gives you testosterone. It gives you androstenedione. It gives you DHEA. All the hormones of the body, the liver makes from cholesterol. So do we need cholesterol? Yes. And you only make a little bit in your liver, but your body it only makes 30% in your liver, and you still need 70% from some outside source, i.e. food. So cholesterol is not bad. Would I say, oh, okay, that means I eat 2 cheeseburgers a day? Well, it's not a good form. These are usually well done. They're factory made. That cholesterol has been heated and adulterated at a certain temperature. It's not necessarily good for you. There's cholesterol there, but but there's better, cleaner forms. If you're gonna, it's why I like eggs and good cheeses, or when people eat raw steak or damn near raw, or it's singed on both sides, they're actually the smartest guys in the world. You're running the risk of maybe some parasite thing, but what you're getting cholesterol that's not been adulterated by well doning that steak and fusing that cholesterol and ruining it so it can't be used by the body. So for my money, if people like eating, rare or type of steak, good, in that respect, if you know the source and it's good, and sure. So, but eggs, there's no look, you can go through menopause very easily as a woman eating 4 eggs a day, because you won't even notice it, because you're giving yourself this hormonal cascade coming into the liver. You're helping yourself out. And rather than having deficiency, you'll have high pregnenolone, which will give you all the other hormones. But that's another story for another day. But I would say that I only wanted to bring up the adrenal thing because everyone, I'm adrenal, I'm stressed. Well, take your B vitamins, take your thiamine. It dovetails into what I was talking about with feeling better, calms you out, and you might do wonderful things for that question on thiamine alone. But valerian, theanine, ashwagandha, rhodiola, these kinds of things that we mentioned, and so fantastic. So the adrenals need cholesterol. That's the hidden little thing. By the way, it's not that the cholesterol goes to the liver. The cholesterol also gets emulsified by the body into tiny, tiny, tiny little molecules, little esterize, it's called. But the cholesterol gets esterized by the body. And this is where the doctors don't even know this, but the cholesterol also goes to the cortex of the adrenal gland. The outside of the adrenal gland is where we have cholesterol receptor sites. And this cholesterol embeds itself on top of the adrenal gland, where in-house, the adrenal glands can now make adrenal hormones, 100 of them. So the cholesterol goes to the adrenals, the cholesterol goes to the liver, making pregnenolone, mother of all hormones, and then all those other hormones are made from pregnenolone, from cholesterol. And that cholesterol also embeds itself as it gets esterized by the body. Tiny, 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 esterized cholesterol embeds itself into the adrenal where adrenal hormones are made. And so that's very important for someone that has adrenal stress and is dragging. You want to take ashwagandha. You would want to take like things, B vitamins and vitamin C, and all sorts of good stuff for your adrenal glands. But rest assured, cholesterol is a big player in your adrenal health and getting back your adrenal function.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bore you.
No, very, very informative. Very informative.
Now, I know
Um,
I'm here interrupting you again. I only bring this up as this granular shit that I do. I only do it for you to understand. Because if I just said, "Oh, take this and let's talk about SNDN," well, that's bullshit. Because then you don't know what it's all about. You're just like, it says take B vitamins. But now, do you know why I do it? Right? So I'm horrible, but I'm killing you on this. But I'm
but
granular.
no, I mean, but people, you're not just saying take this and you'll feel better. You're explaining the processes of why it's going to make you feel better and why your body needs it and why it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Right. And I was even confused on this. How do you rebuild your adrenals? Because my adrenals went down first when I went to Mexico and got sick, and then I'm taking thyroid. I'm never going to be right as long as I'm on thyroid meds. But the thing, I won't be normal. So, but I did learn from a doctor that takes thyroid. He's not a doctor. He's actually an advocate of the thyroid. He's over in England. And I'd spoken with him via email back and forth, and he says, Eric, you're missing the major part of this. Cholesterol is your friend. Cholesterol is how you help rebuild. He goes, adrenal deficiency is really cholesterol deficiency. And I said, thank you. And that was like 10 years ago. But because he alluded to something in some article he wrote, and I said, please elucidate, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I said, are you talking about cholesterol as being the major nutrient needed for adrenal health? And he says, yes, and this is why. And then I said, aha, light bulb, boop. And so I'm just sharing. It's not like Eric came up with something great. I just stole from somebody. So, but I've done my own research since, and indeed, cholesterol is a major player for body health. If you're worried about your heart and cholesterol, I would say it's the boogeyman's been out there since 1955. I don't know if I can undo it. Dwight Eisenhower, president of the United States, had a heart attack in office, and he summoned the AMA and all his doctors around him at the White House. What's the cause of heart attacks? They immediately came back and said it's cholesterol, but they were blaming something because they said, well, it's clogged your heart. It's cholesterol. But if it did clog your heart, then why would your liver make it if it did this to you? It's an easy scapegoat, cholesterol. But the reality is, since the 1800s, we had something called vegetable oils, Crisco. We've had margarines. We've had these hydrogenated fats, they're called. But Crisco was a big thing. You guys are all young, and even when I was young, Crisco was come in a tub, and it was white fat, and everybody cooked with it, and you made pie crusts out of it, and you did this and that with it. It was like the wonder fat. And but then butter's bad. Now we need margarine, because margarine's good. This fake fat, this hydrogenated glop, but it's been around since the 1800s. They've had these hydrogenated fats for forever. And those seed oils, because it comes down to a seed, there's vegetable oils, there's seed oils. These are highly inflammatory. They clog the heart. They give you high A1C numbers. If you look at your A1C and go, oh, it's fucking high, well, you're probably eating Twinkies and eating donuts and bear claws, and you're eating a ton of these seed oils called hydrogenated fats. It's in everything. If it's partially hydrogenated, this corn oil, but okay, these are hydrogenated fats. This is your heart clogging inflammatory nutrient, but we're blaming cholesterol. But cholesterol, they've never been able to implicate cholesterol to this day. The famous Framingham study of over 50, 60 years where they were giving cholesterol to people and checking their heart. It seems that the highest cholesterol levels of people, that would be, HDL versus low cholesterol, the ones that got the heart attacks were the ones with the low. But the point is, we have HDL, we have LDL, and HDL and all these ratios. LDL is oxidized HDL. It's been oxidized by the body. So take your antioxidants and you watch your HDL go higher and your LDL go lower. But regardless, the seed oils are the hobgoblin, are the inflammatory A1C cranker. and make you feel bad, and they clog your heart. So just throwing that out there. So for cholesterol to be the heart clogging bad guy, stay away from. You're ripping yourself off. We need cholesterol to make hormones, and the people taking a statin are wiping out the production of cholesterol in their liver, and that's a huge no-no. Not only are they wiping out the cholesterol in their liver, and you only make 30% in your liver of the cholesterol you need on a day-to-day basis, but you also wipe out the CoQ10 production, because the same enzyme that wipes out making cholesterol in your liver, it's called reductase. That's what you take a statin for. You wipe out the enzyme reductase, and reductase wipes out CoQ10 production and cholesterol production. And the reason I say that is because people that are on statins become very weak, and they don't feel well. They can't do normal things. They are running the risk of their heart dying on them, because their heart needs CoQ10 to beat. Pa-boom, pa-boom, pa-boom. CoQ10. CoQ10 is mitochondrial energy. You want mitochondrial energy? Take thiamine, take a little bit of CoQ10, 100 milligrams of it. You'll find out what mitochondrial energy is. That's what you need. If you're on a statin, take CoQ10 at least. Get off the statin if you're smart, but if you need to take the statin because your doctor's smarter than I am, fine. Take CoQ10 to save your heart. If he hasn't got you on CoQ10, get on CoQ10, because your doctor's selling you out. If he's not prescribing CoQ10, he's giving you a statin, it's malpractice. You should kick his ass to the curb and get another doctor. Thank you.
There you go. My old buddy Tori, who's been a supporter of the channel for many, many years, he's got a couple of questions here for us. What was the name of the tablet for blood pressure you mentioned that dissolves under your tongue?
It's called it's Nathan Bryan, Dr. Nathan Bryan's product. It's called N101. N101. And there's two kinds of it. There's two. Just look for the least expensive N101. But there's many kinds. There's Neo 40, there's N101. N101 is good. I would take magnesium, I would take N101, and I might even take things like hawthorn berry as well, because it creates circulation, and it seems to help vasodilate, which we want. There's a lot of vasodilators out there, but N101, it's a really good, nice lozenge you put in your mouth and you suck on it, and it's got nitrites in it. And just as a background to the nitrites, you've heard of nitroglycerin. It's a byproduct of making dynamite. But back in the day, they learned that nitroglycerin would vasodilate by the sheer fact that nitroglycerin would create nitric oxide in the body. So a lot of your listeners and fans, Piz, are movie aficionados, and they might have watched old black and white movies of some older guy. Maybe he was heavy set, and he's, oh, Marge, my heart. And she goes, oh, do you take your pills, Harry? You know, it's some old movie from the 40s or 50s. And he would take his pills. He kept with him in his breast pocket, and it would be a nitroglycerin pill. And he'd put the nitroglycerin in his mouth, and he'd lie down. And what that pill would immediately do is turn into nitric oxide, and it would vasodilate. And he was having a heart episode. His heart would start. He had such high blood pressure. His heart was trying to pound blood through a very small artery. And so by taking the nitroglycerin, he would expand his artery, letting the blood flow. So he would calm down. After 20 minutes, he could get up and he was normal again. So the nitroglycerin has been around a long time. And that's just as a background to this. And so nitric oxide, if we take nitrites, which this lozenge is, we can raise our nitric oxide. Sorry about my phone, but that's so that N101 is what he's looking for. Dr. Nathan Bryan, you would take 2 of them a day, 1 in the morning, 1 12 hours later, and you can do that to lower your high blood pressure. I would also take magnesium, 600 milligrams a day. You can take again, a hawthorn berry, and other things. There's products out there that will help. Everybody's got an idea. They'll say, hey, take these beet chews, or this or that. You're hoping that dietary nitrates that you have dietary nitrates in them to begin with, and then they can convert to nitrite in the back of the tongue. If you take the lozenge, it is nitrite. So it's one step removed. Take the nitrite lozenge, it'll bathe the back of the tongue, but also what it really does is go down the esophagus into where it hits the stomach acid where nitric oxide is formed. And then that gas that is formed there immediately vasodilates. That gas was really hard to find in the day. The guys that won the Nobel Prize for finding the nitric oxide molecule, it took them years to find it because nitric oxide is made in an instant and it is utilized in an instant. I mean, nanoseconds. But that it goes to work and it keeps the arteries vasodilated for hours. So again, exercise will raise nitric oxide, and the foods we eat will raise nitric oxide if they have dietary nitrates in them. And of course, that lozenge will do you great. You can learn about everything by Nathan Bryan. He's got maybe 50, 60, 100 videos. He's interviewed by everybody of any level on YouTube. Dr. Nathan Bryan, he is the foremost expert in nitric oxide production. He's not really for it. He'll say all the other stuff that I mentioned doesn't work, that only his lozenge works, and I can understand that because he wants to sell his lozenge, but he's got a point there. But I have had great results with high blood pressure with magnesium alone, but other tricks, other things. So I'm glad you're getting on this, because high blood pressure is it's a contraction of your arteries. That's all it is. If we can vasodilate them, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll take the load off the kidneys, take the load off the heart. And also, one of the first symptoms for a man to know that he might have high blood pressure is he can't get an erection, because you need nitric oxide to get an erection. And in a reduction of nitric oxide is a clear sign of that you will have high blood pressure. If you can't get an erection, or you find it harder to get an erection as you're getting older, it could be a nitric oxide deficiency. It will and is a nitric oxide deficiency. And if you smoke and stuff, you're adding to that. You're creating worse circulation. So it's an idea of circulation, of opening up the arteries. In essence, it's turning on the valve to your garden hose. Your garden hose, if you just turn on the valve and you watch the water shoot out 3, 4, 5 feet in a nice big stream, that would be really good arterial health. And it would be, but if you were to say put your thumb over that end of that garden hose, and then you could pressurize that water and shoot it 30 or 40 feet. We've all done that as kids. We're just watering your bushes, right, with your thumb. But what you're doing is you're creating high blood pressure or high pressure, water pressure. You're reducing the volume, increasing the pressure. So if we take our thumb off, it's like opening up the arteries. So that's all this is. All I'm saying is that since your arteries have smooth muscle around them, and blood pressure is contraction of the smooth muscle, let's open up the smooth muscle, letting the artery breathe and letting the blood flow. That's what high blood pressure is.
And I think it was you that told me this. I don't remember, but they kind of accidentally discovered, like, Viagra was originally supposed to be like a vasodilator, and whoever they were testing it on was like, hey, I've got a problem here. Like it's doing something to something else. You know what I mean? So that's how
right
they were getting a thing.
The high blood pressure medicine they were shooting for was only surpassed by the multi-trillion-dollar boner pill.
Exactly.
Right? Like, hey, we're going to solve this high blood pressure. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we've all got wood for 6 hours. So, boom.
Like, screw the blood pressure. We've just stumbled on a fortune here.
Holy grail.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
they get to they'll stumble upon, they'll probably go out there to for like hair, right? If they find that one for hair, like it grows mops of hair, but it was
Yeah.
designed to, make your breathing easier or something.
Yeah. We've got it's designed to cure cancer, but it grows hair back. So
Right.
screw that. Let's
Right. Yeah, we're going after COPD here, but we end up having, the hundreds of $1 trillion hair pill. So
exactly.
they stumbled upon it by just sheer luck, So that's how mega pharmacies are made. So you're right.
Well, Turi has another question here. What supplements are good for low T, and how to increase T naturally?
There's a lot of good products out there for that. Tonkat Ali. If you have documented low testosterone, you have low testosterone. My first thing is to eat 4 to 6 eggs a day. Why? Because testosterone is made from cholesterol. So eat eggs. You're probably keeping in a low cholesterol diet. First of all, raise your cholesterol. Dr. Wallach told me this years back. He said, look, if you're not performing well in the bedroom and your wife's not happy with you and she's screwing the mailman, whatever. But the point is, no, look, raise your cholesterol, but also Tonkat Ali. Tonkat Ali is an herb. There's many products with Tonkat Ali in them. They've got all these products out there that are constantly deluging you on the radio and everything about like raise your tea with this from Vitamin Shop or from wherever your local health food store. Tonkat Ali, if it's actually Tonkat Ali and it's not some fake, you get it from, I think it's from Thailand or something, but originally that's where it comes out of. But Tonkat Ali will document, it'll take low testosterone levels in a man and raise them. It actually doesn't necessarily raise them as much as it utilizes testosterone it resets your sensitivity to your cells to testosterone. It helps on kind of a couple of different pathways, but Tonkat Ali can do this. There's many products out there that will help raise this. There was a product out there, was Tonkat Ali, and it was He Shou Wu. He Shou Wu is a Chinese herb, but also known as Polygonum multiflorum. But He Shou Wu and Tonkat Ali together was this product that was just two herbs in there that were just dramatic for raising testosterone and making a man function better. But I would also, don't forget about cholesterol. Cholesterol is your friend. Eat 4 eggs sunny side up. Good ones. Cage-free, sunny side up. You'll get the whites, which is the protein. You'll get the lecithin. You'll have great brain power from it. Total brain recall, good memory. By the way, you want to build that neurotransmitter for your memory called acetylcholine. You constantly want to build your acetylcholine neurotransmitter throughout your life. If you don't give the acetylcholine neurotransmitter choline, choline, in the form of eggs, which has choline in it, or some sort of choline, or many ways to go there to get there. It's a use it or lose it. You get the senior moments. You start losing your memory, your mind, because the acetylcholine neurotransmitter needs choline to keep it build it strong, keep it strong. So with eggs, you get all the 4 phosphatidyl groups, including phosphatidylcholine and phosphatidylserine and all the others, but you get the cholesterol to raise your testosterone, to raise your estradiol, estriol, and estradiol, all 3 estrogens. Why can't I get those? So yes, you need cholesterol to raise testosterone. And Tonkat Ali and all these other ones. There's a guy out there, he's got the beard on. He talks about redwood and umzu, and I don't know what his product line is, but he's a guy out there that does a lot of talking and these commercials on YouTube, especially. He's got some products, redwood, I think it's called, or some, I don't know what it's called. He's got one but it's all based on Tonkat Ali is always the the pivotal ingredient in all these testosterone raising nutrients. So, and I'm a little bit remiss in not knowing, you might know some, but Tomcat Ali certainly comes up, cholesterol, raise that form of eggs, 4 to 6 a day for a man. Don't be scared of them. You'll feel better. In a week, you'll feel better. In a month, you'll feel way better. And it just helps raise testosterone. You'll notice because your testicles will get bigger and harder. If you want to know, I mean, if you notice, you're like, wow, okay, they're like cement. You're gonna know. And so, I mean, crude.
Well, and I would say too that there's things that kill your testosterone too. Like if you're highly stressed, if you're not getting enough sleep at night, those things will kill your testosterone.
Yes, and that's true. Sleep is everything. Stress. That's why we talk about lowering stress. And of course, estrogens, phytoestrogens. A man should not eat tofu. A man should not be a vegan. You should take in a form of cholesterol. Vegans don't get any cholesterol. If you look at a vegetarian or vegan, I love vegans and vegetarians. I do. They just need to be smarter about their nutrient intake because they're missing out on iron and B12 and all of the B vitamins. They're missing out on cholesterol. If you ever look at a long-term vegetarian, it doesn't matter if he's a black man, he's going to look pale and sickly, almost gray for a black man, but he's going to look stark white for a white person. He's going to look weak and sickly and not strong and not have a good memory. And there's a lot of telltale signs. I've literally been able to almost nail someone knowing he's a vegetarian just by looking at him and asking. And so you're a vegetarian. And Jim Newman from SNDN2, he's Dr. Bloom. I saw him later in years when we did the commentary and I don't mean to bring up Jim, but other than to say if Jim is listening, he's vegetarian and his memory was failing him and this and that. And I learned that he was a vegetarian right before he left. I said, well, Christ, why is he not taking methylcobalamin and B12 at the bare minimum? He's not getting his B12. He's not getting his iron. He's not getting his B vitamins. He's not getting cholesterol. He's not getting all these nutrients that make men and women strong and vital. So do I like animal meats? No, but I eat them because they make me feel better, because there's more minerals and nutrients in the meats today than it is in the produce, because the produce is commercially grown in deficient soil. So it still comes back to supplement your foods. I'm sorry, you got to supplement your foods. One guy said to me in line at Trader Joe's, he said, no, I'd rather get all my nutrients from food. And I just laughed. I laughed for 45 minutes and he just watched me laugh as I was walking away from him, because I'll nutshell it for you. In 1994, our government did a study of all the soils, farmlands in the United States. What did they find out in 1994? 30 years ago. They found out that our soil is 85% minerally deficient in 1994. And this is a study that's documented. I forgot the name of it. It's like study, 20245 something. But Dr. Joel Wallach brought this up to me. And he's in many of his books about this study that our government, this is the last study they ever did on the nutrient percentage in the soil. And it was 1994. Would you do it again? It was 85% nutrient deficient in 1994, 30 years ago. So, I mean, what is it today? It certainly is not 85% minerally deficient. It's probably 95% minerally deficient. We are robbing the nutrients in the soil. We're not repleting the nutrients in the soil, because in the old days, you would burn wood for energy, for heating your stove, for staying warm in your house. You would burn wood. Well, what's left over when you burn wood? Ashes. Ashes are very heavy. What is ashes? We just think ashes are ashes. What are ashes? They're minerals. They're gray, heavy minerals. You ever picked up a shovel full of ashes? It weighs a ton, because they're minerals. These minerals don't burn away when you burn wood. But in the old days, when they burned wood for energy and for heating and cooking food and all these things we use wood for, that we couldn't use wood today. We have run out of wood trees. But the point is back in the day, there was an ash man that came along to all the families all over in the communities. The ash man came by in his truck and picked up the ashes, or he came by in his buckboard, in his wagon with a horse drawn, and he picked up the ashes. He took away these bad ashes that the people were more than glad to give to this guy. What did he do with the ashes? He spread them on the fields, on his soil, to replete the mineral value to the soil, so that when they grew crops, they grew strong and green and vibrant and were pesticide. They were bug free. They didn't have the bugs couldn't. A strong plant, vegetable, anything we eat, it has a stronger immune system and is resilient to bugs when it's healthy. That's why they dump so much pesticides and herbicides and fungicides on foods, especially grapes and wineries, wine people. They're into growing grapes for wine. They have vine rot, and all these other problems of the grape growing industry, because their soil is so deficient, and then they have bugs infiltrate. So I'm just saying, in the old days, we dumped ash on the soil to replete its mineral content. We don't do that anymore. Now we've got electricity. You flip a switch, the light's on. We're not burning wood and having ash left over and spreading it on our farm fields. So that's the background of it all. Our soil is deplete and deficient, and it's getting worse. And in 1994, it was 85% minerally deficient. So when we talk about all these things that I droned onto tonight, I'm just saying, hey, your B vitamins are deficient, your minerals are deficient, this is deficient, this is why you have high blood pressure, this is why you have this problem, this is why you have that problem. And it's all nutrient deficiencies. And Dr. Derek Lonsdale points that out. He said it's all mitochondrial, meaning cellular energy deficiency. All disease is mitochondrial deficiency. That's what it is in a nutshell. I could say the title of the show should be New Year, New You. All disease is mitochondrial deficiency. And so now we know. And so and if I died tomorrow, at least I imparted some kernel of knowledge. So
a lot of knowledge. Turi, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. I appreciate that very much. And yeah, thank you for the great questions. Turi, this is for you, my friend.
It's garbage day.
You would know better, Piz. Do we have 6 or 7 viewers now because of my ranting?
Well, Matt, Dream Emulator, thank you for the $1.99. Thoughts on meditation? He says it changed his life. Any thoughts on meditation, Eric?
I'm absolutely certain it will, and it does. And if you can get in touch with, a lot of people are like phony yoga people, and they'll go to the yoga and they'll do hot yoga and this and that, where they crank it up to 150 degrees, but yoga and meditation were actually a very spiritual endeavor. And that's a very spiritual endeavor, that you're getting in touch with the earth, with your God, you're taking yourself out of your own body. And yeah, you can do a lot. The mind is very powerful. The mind can, I wonder, just, do I need to be this stressed about something? Can I change my mindset? Can I tell myself, calm down, it's not the end of the world, it'll all get better? And sometimes I do that to myself and say, hey man, it's just what happens. And so he brings up a good point. If he's able to go somewhere outside of his own body while he's sitting on the floor in a lotus position or whatnot, or he's just meditating at work or what, God bless him, because that's really the answer. Can his mind be more powerful enough to calm him down, to make things right, to take the stresses away? Is it my mind? Is my reaction? I'm not a Dianetics guy, or one of these what are those guys? Those Scientology guys.
Scientologist.
But the idea there underneath all that, the original guy talked about the reactive mind, and that's exactly why this guy meditates. Don't let your mind stress you out. Don't let your mind get you sick. Don't let your mind get you in a state of just being an irritable person. have more patience, have more, like you have a lot of patience and compassion, and you're very good with your brother, and you're very good with your, taking care of your family. And I've always appreciated that of you, Justin, because it's like, wow, how can this guy be this so zen? But you are, and it's and this guy meditates to be such, and I B1 has really helped me, but that, because it takes away the anxiety and calms you down, and other things can do that too. But that's a whole different avenue. I don't know if I've ever been able to. I always said to someone that would listen, I'm like, I don't think I could be hypnotized. I would say to people, I don't think someone can hypnotize me. There's no effing way someone can hypnotize. I can't put myself in that state. And some people can. And I can only appreciate that this guy can go there, and his mind is his best advocate and can heal physical and mental issues he has by, and he seems changing his life. So that more power to him. I think like yoga people, it was all based on spirituality. It's not this commercialized this and that where, downward doggy with 150-degree, blower on you're sweating it out, and making billions. Someone's making money at this. So that's perfect. But I can only address it on a cursory level. But I do know that when I breathe and slow down and take breaths, and you notice this, and you can notice this when you go and get a high blood to check your blood pressure at the doctor. If you breathe, like inhale and exhale 3 times, and maybe exhale as the cuff is getting harder on your arm, meaning it's about to go and about to give you a reading, and you just exhale for your last or third one, you will watch your blood pressure will be perfect. Where normally it might be high, especially in that anxiety ridden state you're in, what they're doing the cuff, and it would naturally rise, and it gives a false reading, and then your doctor yells at you. The reality is, take 3 breaths. And so it's a form of meditation. It's very, very minor, but taking deep breaths and calming yourself is going in that route that he's talking about. Breathing, being able to separate yourself from your physical body, mentally. And so I'm being redundant, but I can appreciate that, and it's helped him. And these are things that are all good. I mean, there's certain religions that'll constantly be doing that every day. And, where I might say, hey, take some valerian and some magnesium. Someone said, I meditate, but it's all good. The body does need certain copious amounts of nutrients to be well. They're not in the food, even you might be a meditator to knock off some of that stress, but whereas some nutrients might even further reduce it as well. So that it's all good, physical, mental. So I'm in on it. And I understand this guy, and it changed his life. So he's asking, what do I think? I think he's on the right track. I think if you combine this
That's
stuff,
good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, thank you very much, Matt. So let's do a couple of more questions, and then we'll call it a night. My buddy Parker, who is a channel member, thank you for supporting the channel. He says, looking back, do you think playing such a high energy and intense character like Ricky influenced how you approach your own health or stress management today? P.S. My signed magnet I got last year is still cherished. Hope you had a good holiday season.
that's nice. The magnet's cool. Yeah, I just had irrational energies, irrational exuberance back then, and maybe I'm still the same guy today. I'm very passionate about this tonight, and so excuse me for my long-windedness, but it's probably just my makeup, and I was very green too, very green. I was like young corn back then, and so I just needed some better direction, but I did what I did today. That didn't make me whatever I'm doing today and who I am today. It's probably just the same guy I was then. If I like something, I'm passionate about it. I'll look into it deep, and that just was thrown upon me. Like, here, well, Thursday got the job, Tuesday we're shooting. To me it was, memorize the dialogue and don't make a fool of yourself. Why? Fuck that up too. So
Oh gosh.
no, but Caldwell's going to live in infamy. So hadn't I done the Caldwell I did, I wouldn't be interviewed on B Vitamins today. So
There you exactly. But thank you, Parker. Unknown World wants to know, where can I get one of those trash cans, signed trash cans Eric used to sell?
I will go on eBay. I'll go on eBay with them. I'll just put them on eBay. I'll probably put I don't know, like probably garbage day trash cans or something, to the Eric Freeman trash cans or garbage day trash cans. Look for that because it'll pop up. Something to do with that. I'll just sell them on eBay.
And Eric will let me know when they're available, so I'll definitely share the links whenever they become available. Dave says, hey, Eric, was finally able to meet you at Horror Hound in Cincinnati. It was awesome hearing about your training and how you knew about Mike Mincer back in the day.
Yeah. I know Dave. Dave's been he's a good man. Yeah, I knew the Mencers. I worked for Ray Mencer, and I got a job as a trainer in Mencer's gym. I was a trainer at Nautilus by the sea in Manhattan Beach when I was leaving there, and because I was getting underpaid and overworked, and he was ripping me off. And I just saw in the LA Times for an ad for needing trainers for a gym called Future Fitness. See Ray is what it said, and I went there. It was no phone number, nothing. Ray was like that, so I showed up. Monstrous man was behind the counter mixing a protein drink, and a huge pitcher. Drinking the whole pitcher was filled with protein drink, and he's grinding away on that. And between grindings, I said, "Hey, I'm here for the training position." And he kept grinding. He didn't even turn his back to even look at me. He just kept going. And then he got done making it, and he turned around with his gallon of protein powder, and he started drinking. Monstrous guy. But that was Ray Mencer. And then I later found Mike was there every day. Mike Mencer was there every day at the gym. Mike was pushing his one set to failure idea called HIT, they call it today. And I disagree with Mike. But we were always respectful. I told him that volume was a better way to go. And I got him to admit a lot of stuff. I'm going to do a video on Mike Mencer, but I got him to admit that he built his body on volume, heavy sets, volume, meaning a lot of sets. And then he went off to doing, understand something. The Mencer brothers were massive German mesomorphs. They were already huge, fully muscled. I said that back then, and it might be worth saying today. I said, you guys are Chevelle SS 396 4-barrel high performance cars right out of the chute. I said, you guys are mesomorphic Germans. I said, then add in those nutritional substances that you like taking. I said, I said, given all that, I could do one set to failure and gain from it. I said, look at me. I'm this skinny guy. I'm a gym. I'm like the body you see at the beach. That I said I'm just average, and I said I could never be you. I said your arms are 23 inches, Ray. Yours are, Mike. I would say, Mike, yours are like 22. I said nobody's like this in real life. So I said I cannot get there with one set, and so that was my every day. Mike and I'd go back and forth. I said, no. I said, I'll end it here. I came from Nautilus by the Sea in Manhattan Beach, training about 250 people that were regulars. But I had a whole host of knowledge of training people, regular average Joes, before I went to Ray's gym. I had an experience of training people, average folks, not on steroids. When I got to Ray's gym, Mike's claim to fame was 6 months over in Delano, Florida at the Nautilus camp with Arthur Jones, the inventor of Nautilus equipment. With he and his Ray were both Nautilus. They both worked. They both spent 6 months at Arthur Jones camp, and so his experience of training people was limited to bodybuilders on steroids working out on Nautilus equipment for one set to failure, because they were already huge and they could grow from. When you're on steroids, you can grow. You don't have to even go to the gym. You can grow. You can sit on the couch and eat potatoes. You're going to grow. So my experience was far more voluminous than Mike Mentzer's when I showed up there. And I was able to keep up. I was his equal in the knowledge of nutrition. I was equal in many ways. I wasn't equal as a bodybuilder, clear, but I just said, no, I'm not buying this one set to failure. It's not going to work for the average bloke. It's going to be volume. It's going to be sets and reps. So I only get off on that because Mike Mentzer has built this today, one set to failure. There's a lot of hype and bullshit about it. The reality is find out what works. And what works in the gym generally is going to be volume, and meaning more sets. If you want to build big muscles and your muscles get used to it, you're going to have to hammer them harder, heavier, as you progress in weight. But I still like high reps with medium weight and 10 sets on a body part, for example, 6 sets minimum. So that's the way I approach it. So if anybody wants to know on the bodybuilding thing, I'd rather see you do 20 reps with weight than 8 reps with weight. I'd rather see you do 25 reps with weight than 6 reps with weight. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to do super heavy, low reps. You can't feel it. Your mind is completely into, I need to move this from A to B 3 times and then rack it. How can you feel the muscle working if you're worried about lifting this super heavy weight up and down and up and down, up and down and rack it? If you know, bodybuilding is not how much you lift. It's duration, it's endurance, it's staying on that muscle for 20 reps and cooking the piss out of it. Sorry to say it, just making it hurt, and you can still do 5 more, and then rack it. Why? Because you're stressing the muscle, and then that's an adaptive process. All you're doing in the gym is you're stressing muscle fibers. The rest of it is go home and eat and sleep. As you said, rest is important. So, and I only got into that thanks for letting me say that, because there's people probably, what's your training philosophy? High reps, half to 2/3 your maximum. And volume. Don't do a multitude of exercises for your chest. Do 2 exercises. Do isolation, do compound. Isolation would pec deck, isolate your pecs, and then do a pressing movement, a compound. Isolate, compound. Isolate for legs would be leg extension and then squat. Isolate, compound. And I know we're ending the show, but that's important to know that. Isolate, because you're isolating those muscles specifically for your quadriceps, doing a leg extension, and you're really taxing those muscles. It's just your quadriceps. And then you're using a squat, you're using your hamstrings, your gluteus maximus and minimus, you're using your core, you're using all your muscles to further work your legs. So it's a compound movement, a squat. It's more of an ass workout than anything. So if women like a nice, beautiful butt and legs, a squat. A squat on a Smith machine would be preferred. That way it's safe. But a squat is your best friend.
I would highly recommend that for all women, the squats.
No, no. And I'm back in the gym now. I got rid of my gym, but I'm back in the gym, and I can tell you, the ladies are pretty much ass centered. They are on to their ass, and they're on it. They're doing hip thrusts and abductor, adductor. They're really butt centered, and I get it. But they're overdoing. They don't need to do that much. Squat, and then the back hyperextension machine, because it works the gluteus minimus, the top of the ass, the top of the butt, that gives you that roundness off the top. Okay. A squat will work the butt from the bottom up in a back hyperextension machine. That's a nice machine that you go back on. It works your beautiful back muscles, your spinal erectors that follow, they parallel your actual spine. It works those muscles, but it works the top of the butt too. And so you build this bubble butt. I just laugh, but no, women do all these things.
You know a lot about women's butts, Eric.
Oh, I used to train them. I'd say the women were always scared about getting big. Oh, I don't want to get big. I don't want to get big. I said, you're not going to get big. I said, you've got muscle is 5 times heavier than fat per cubic inch. It's so dense that if you follow the proper eating guidelines, meaning you eat right as a bodybuilder would, and you train, you will get smaller. And she goes, I'll get smaller. You'll get smaller. Your waist will get smaller. Your butt will get smaller, but it'll get shapelier. Everything will get smaller and shapelier, and you'll have more density. You'll go up in weight. Maybe you might get heavier, but you'll be smaller. And they go, what? Because muscle's heavier than fat per cubic inch, 4.5 times heavier than fat per cubic inch. So it's denser. Fat is very soft and buoyant and fungible, but muscle is like steak. It's very dense. So you can actually go up in weight as a woman and get smaller, and then everything gets where you lift the rump goes lifted up and it gets shaped right, and this and this and this and that, and it does so for a man too. I mean, so if you like a man with a nice ass, well, squats and leg stuff. So I'm just saying, it's overdone. Everybody, the secret to arms, secret to this. It's not that hard. They got all the machines for it. Go in there and test yourself, stimulate growth, get out, and eat right, and miracles will happen.
Well, you've talked about eating right. I'm sure a lot of people's New Year's resolutions are getting fit, losing weight. And on paper, it's easy, right? I mean, it sounds easy. You just burn more calories than you take in, but you have to factor in willpower. And my willpower last month went out the window, Eric. 3 words: Christmas tree cakes. I probably gained 20 pounds just eating Christmas tree cakes. I can't not, Eric. I can't not eat them.
No, and I get it, and I completely get it. I ate a whole pumpkin pie in just like half an hour.
but what I was going to ask you is, we know that fundamentally, to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you take in. But is there anything that you would recommend that could help give us a leg up in that might, something that might boost metabolism, something that might help us feel more satiated? Like we see all this, there's all these fake drugs or fake supplements, like fat burners. It's been like scientifically proven that they might burn 0.1, they may assist in fat burning with like a percentile, a tiny little percentile. But like, what would be something you'd recommend to boost metabolism and to maybe help you feel satiated, or maybe even to give you some extra energy?
Well, the first thing is by having active muscle in the gym or any type of resistance exercise. Say you like Pilates, or say bodybuilding, resistance exercise where you're taxing your muscle tissue. That active muscle burns calories 24 hours a day. You're sleeping, you're sitting down at work, you are burning more calories by having active muscle than the non-active muscle. So that's working for your benefit. You are now consuming more calories by the sheer fact you're keeping these muscles active. So big plus. There is no other form of exercise that's going to burn calories like resistance exercise. Mitochondrially speaking, thiamine, the B1, with the B vitamins will help use those carbohydrates for energy. So that the reality is, since if you don't have enough thiamine, you're going to be eating carbohydrates, not being satiated, wanting to eat more carbohydrates, not being satiated, and it's not converting into mitochondrial energy. So you eat more to try to produce the satiation you're looking for. So thiamine has a lot to do with not only willpower and feeling better, but mitochondrial energy. If you wanted more mitochondrial energy, take coenzyme Q10, or a better form of that. The fully reduced form was ubiquinol. Or you could take ubiquinol for mitochondrial energy. You'll feel a lot better. You'll have energy. You talk about Red Bulls and coffee and this and that and all these exciters. This actually gives you cellular energy. CoQ10. Your liver makes a little bit of it and makes less as you age. So you might want to take CoQ10, and it's not expensive. If you're over the age of 50, you might want to take ubiquinol. That's the fully reduced form of it, meaning it's Lexus, but you can take regular CoQ10 at, say, 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams. If you have any heart issues and you want to help your heart work better, take more CoQ10 because your heart needs CoQ10, as I said, to beat earlier. But these are, and then you say, what else can you do? I do like L-carnitine. I always had great luck with fat burners in the sense of there's lipotropics, which are, these are the B vitamins, inositol, choline, B6, methionine. These are B vitamins that assist L-carnitine, an amino acid you find in steak, but L-carnitine on an empty stomach, L-carnitine with some lipotropics will emulsify. What it does is it transports fatty acid to the mitochondria of the cell to be utilized for energy. So fat can be used for energy, to burn fat for energy. Hard for the body to burn fat unless you are in a calorie deficiency, right? So can we assist this? I know there's people that say this and that. I used to get people on fat burners with additional L-carnitine at 1 gram of L-carnitine twice a day. L-carnitine is really good. It's a nootropic. It's really good for your mind and alertness and that. And so it's really good for the mind. L-carnitine is regular L-carnitine. There's acetylated L-carnitine. You don't need to spend the extra money on it. L-carnitine by itself with lipotropics, lipo, L-I-P-O-T-R-O-P-H-I-C-S. Lipotropics are really good for your liver, the choline and the methionine and the inositol and the B6 all help carnitine work better. But I do like those lipotropics. So I would have to defer from what the guys out there are saying in that respect. It worked fine with me, but ultimately, yes, if you train, your calorie consumption is going to go up. Your body's going to use more calories for active muscle, clearly. Can you eat more when you're training? Although you want to lose weight, your body's going to want to eat more when you're training, but you just have to eat more in smaller little portions. You could eat 6 times a day, a little bit of carbohydrate, a little bit of protein, a little bit of some green stuff. You could eat more times. Bodybuilding diet is eating small meals throughout the day, not 3 massive meals. Or I missed breakfast. I had a donut, coffee, and then humongous lunch, humongous dinner, and then a huge snack before I go to bed. Hard to lose weight that way. Bodybuilding and gaining muscle is more about the sleeping and the eating. You can only do one thing in the gym, that's stimulate muscle growth. That's all you can do. That's all you're doing is you're taxing muscle fibers. Muscle fiber is like a rubber band. If you're contracting a rubber band and you're stretching the rubber band and you're contracting, when you're stretching under load, the body's adaptive process is that rubber band or that fiber of muscle making up a cord of muscle, that one fiber of that muscle tissue, call it a rubber band, making up a cord of muscle, which would be like 1,000 rubber bands making up a bicep. This gets contracted and you let the weight down and contracted under load. This just, the process of this adaptive process is that the body wisely does not want to go under that kind of load again. And so the muscle fiber making up the muscle belly gets thicker. It gets traumatized, and that muscle fiber gets thicker, and that's how the muscle gets larger. It's just making sure that kind of trauma that happens again the next time there is trauma like that on that muscle, that it's ready for it. It got traumatized, it gets thicker, therefore more resilient, stronger. So if you put that same load on it again, it'll be no problem. That's why you probably would go up a little bit in weight or more reps the next time, or strain it a little harder if you wanted to keep growing it. But that's the adaptive process. All we do in the gym is straining muscle tissue, and then the rest of it is sleeping and eating right. But it's hard to make changes as an individual. Justin, I agree with you. These holidays are it's filled with love and the spirit, and there's a certain air that comes. There's something happens around this time of year, and we just eat more and stuff. And I'm just sick and tired of giving advice in that respect of what you should do to lose weight or this. It's up to the individual. If he's sick and tired, if she's sick and tired of this or that, all I can say is once you get involved in bodybuilding or resistance exercise or any kind of exercise, yoga or meditation, and it's helping you, you will incorporate that as a lifestyle anyhow. You'll make the changes. If I can go from eating pizza and all the garbage and drinking the beer and being, the pot smoking fool I was all these years, if I just cut it out, and I still like bear claws, I still like this stuff. I still like, seeing Pepperidge Farm, whatever. I just don't. But I break down. I had a pie the other day, but I get it. I'm long-winded as always, but everybody's got to make these choices. Do you want to make the changes? I've seen dramatic changes. I've seen a guy that was 265 pounds. His name was Randy, bodybuilder. I knew him from Torrance. Just in a quick story, but I didn't see him for a year. And then I saw the skinny guy in front of me. I was on this abdominal machine by Nautilus. I was crunching away, and I got up, and he goes, and he's right in front of me. He goes, Eric. And I said, and he goes, it's Randy. And I said, Randy? I remember Randy as this massive mountain of a guy. And he was this skinny, about 165-pound guy. And I said, Randy, what happened? I mean, but he looked great. He was muscular and thin. And he said, I started swimming. He started swimming. That was his thing. So find your passion. And if it's not anything, if you just want to eat and be joyful and take the right supplements and make sure your heart's working well and you got good circulation, fine, whatever. Maybe your passion is collecting, Swiss watches or playing guitar or whatever it is, some, macrameing sweaters. It doesn't matter. Just be happy. But if you want to make some changes bodily because it's hard for you to get around, or it hurts, or this or that, or you're carrying all this weight on your joints, sure. MSM is a good way to help the body clear out a lot of debris out of the body too. It's a real good detoxifier. And so there's a lot of little tricks. So mitochondrial energy, CoQ10, take the B. That's why I said today's thing was B vitamins. So we'll just leave it there. With people, dip your toe in the water, right? Complex, activated Bs for the last time, either that noise, or this one, the same thing, coenzyme B complex, same thing, and additional thiamine. Okay. And allithiamine is better than this thiamine, but it's a little bit more expensive. But this is a good.
What about benthophthamide or whatever?
Benfotiamine, yes.
Benfotiamine.
And benfotiamine is an excellent B1. It's if you have peripheral neuropathy, or if you have diabetic neuropathy, or if you have diabetes, there is benfotiamine, BENFOTIAMINE, benfotiamine. Benfotiamine is a synthetic B1. Thank you for bringing that up, because I wanted to bring that up. Benfotiamine is an excellent synthetic B1 that is almost 10 times more active than the B1 I just showed you. It doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier any better, but it's really good for rebuilding nerves. It's really good for peripheral neuropathy. It's really good for diabetic issues. It's just an excellent B1, benfotiamine. You can get it at Swanson. I was doing benfotiamine and B1 with the B complex, but I kind of tapered off the benfotiamine because I'm okay there. But that's the other thing. There's certain tests now. Vibrant Wellness is a great company that does micronutrient testing, dirt cheap. I shouldn't say dirt cheap. It's a kind of expensive, but it's cheaper than any other place. But they draw blood and they check your micronutrient levels for a whole host of nutrients, find out what you're deficient in. And that is probably the surefire way of finding out the window into the body to really know what's going on is a micronutrient test. And that way you'll know, is my CoQ10 levels good? Are my inositol levels good? Are my niacin levels good? Are across the board on the B vitamins, minerals, fatty acids. My thing is fatty acids, omega-3 fish oils. Those are the fish oils the body wants. Those are the oils the body wants. So there's a lot to learn, but then you don't have to go crazy. But I do like the idea of just starting slow on this B vitamin regimen with magnesium. And then if you could do some things for your bones like calcium, magnesium, you're going to need the magnesium anyhow to make the B vitamins work. So, but we went over that. And then whatever else, if someone's got a little issue, the information's all there. I would say try to find someone that's got some super good smarts. Maybe he's an MD he's a clinical nutritionist, MD, and he's got a good site like Peter Osborne or someone like that. You can look at him and know like this guy's really good. So it's all there for the taking. The information's all there. Nobody needs to be in the dark. You can educate your doctor if you want to at this point, and because he doesn't know or she doesn't really know. Some do. I'm gonna say, hey, some do. I'm more power to them, but your health is up to you, man. That's the thing. I was stupid years ago. I got sick, and then I jumped in a ditch and couldn't get out. Didn't have a ladder, so I'm fighting the Humpty Dumpty syndrome, and I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't fall off the wall. Just don't break. My final. Don't break.
Well, I wanted to show you something. I meant to show you this a while ago, but I completely forgot. I bought this on eBay. It's an original like advertising thing for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Wow. Huh.
So it's like something that they would send out to video stores to promote the video and stuff.
Wow.
And,
That's never seen one of those.
Yeah, it's in really good condition. I meant to send you some pictures, but it kind of slipped my mind. So,
and it's got that IVF on the back, so that came directly from the IVE. Yeah,
IVE. Yeah. So,
how cool! That's rare. As I'll get out.
That's pretty rare. Yeah, and it's in really good shape. So I was like, oh.
Well, I was long-winded on that, but there's no real tricks. But mitochondrial energy is the kind of energy we're talking about. Dr. Derek Longsdale, that #1 vitamin B1 expert, doctor, you start there and he'll kind of explain the same thing in a nice way and say, hey man, this is what I devoted my life to. And he's wrote a book on it. The book is a paperback. It's $100. Don't buy the book, but you can learn from Osborne or Berg or any of these guys out there. They have 20, 30 videos each of themselves on B1 deficiency and what symptoms it causes and what ailments it can cause in the body. It's massive. It doesn't have to be at its worst extreme berry. That would be a vitamin B1 deficiency of extreme magnitude, but there are versions of berry. There's everything up to that can be a problem. You can. There's an English chap over there, the new Lonsdale Well, and he's a nutritionist over there. He's got videos all over YouTube, and he talks about thiamine deficiencies. Quite good at it, and but yeah, that's where I want to. That's where we need to stay now. B complex, thiamine, magnesium. Try those. You'll feel your little ailments and stuff that you've got. Any of those things I mentioned, they'll be gone. Or they'll take time, of course, it might take 30 days, maybe a little longer, but you'll notice you're feeling better and clearer and thinking better and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing here. Dave says, please tell Eric he was one of my favorite guests I've met at a horror convention. Hope he can come back to Ohio at some point.
I like Ohio.
It's a nice place. It's nice. Nice place.
Yeah, Horror Hound. Yeah.
The Horror Hound, yeah, that's one of the big ones.
Yeah, you're always at the Hound.
I go fairly often. Yeah, I go
Yeah.
fairly often.
No,
So.
I've drained you of all energies, mitochondrial energy.
I got to go get some B1.
No, but it would be good if you are not doing it, Justin. Please do it.
Yeah.
Add it to your regimen.
Eric, we've been going for over 3 hours. Time has
Really?
flown. I know it's flown. I can't believe it. We've been going for over 3 hours.
All
But
right.
you have shared an incredible wealth of knowledge and information with people out there who, a lot of people who need it. And I know there's been a lot of people in the chat tonight that have been taking notes, and it's been a really great stream. It's always fun having you on, Eric. Whatever we talk about, if it's the movies, if it's guitars, if it's health related, whatever it is, it's always great to have you on.
I feel bad. It's 3 hours and 18 minutes. You know what? This is why I'm only on once a year. Damn.
Well, but I mean, Eric, we can't, we gotta
1 hour like 3 times a year. What's wrong with me? God, am I a fuck up?
Well, I mean, look, we love Eric.
That's right. I'm going to Kentucky now. Hell with you.
Eric, thanks for being president. Awesome. Thanks for what you've done for horror films, and I hope your legacy lives on forever. So, I mean, yeah, you've helped a lot of people out with this, and I'm sure we'll get a lot more. We'll get a lot of feedback after the stream once it's gone up and stuff. Is this Swirlish?
That's Swirls.
Oh, they're Swirls.
Yeah, she's a good girl. I thought I'd throw her in. She's always say hi.
We got a cameo from Swirls.
Yeah, she's actually very pretty, and
she is. Yeah,
she's filling out. She's eating more. It's winter.
Yeah,
even she's succumbed to the holidays. Yeah, but no, she's pretty, and she's saying the same thing. Like, damn it, I want to go out. What are you doing with 3 hours on? Thank you for letting me bloviate. But if I've helped, you know what I like? I've helped somebody. I know I have.
Yes,
and that's good. People don't get this, but I'm just a conduit. I'm not really that bright, honestly. I just know enough to know that there's people out there that you should go look at. They're really super smart, and they can help you with your health issues. If you have any concerns, just be selective, but go to YouTube and look around. And
well, there were several people in the chat who were like, Eric should start his own channel and talk about this stuff. And Eric, I've been trying to push you in that direction.
Yeah, just think, then we'll be out of business, you and I. So, I mean, we got like, phew, God.
Now, yeah, I mean, come on, man. That's a lot of.
No, then we'll just come on. I'll come on. We'll just talk the normal thing. We'll talk the movie. We'll talk guitars. We'll talk, whatever. And so we'll leave the nutrition thing. I probably should go on there, but I think I think that there's smarter out there than me. But I could do little ones. I could do like, hey, take your B vitamins, the reason, and then give them the reason why.
But I think you break it down better, and you explain it better, and you say, you need this for this and this for this, and it's not, I've seen some of those videos, and it's kind of like, they're you're just being Eric, and they're trying to be like Dr. And they're professional guy, whatever. Yeah, they're selling something. Yeah.
I know that it turns people off. I don't want to sell a darn thing. I just want people to get better. But yeah, there people are all over the United States in ill health of some way or another, and that's what kind of pisses me off, is that the doctors get them on statins, and then they die in their sleep from their heart's not working anymore. It's all this, and it's unnecessary to suffer like people do just for lack of knowledge. So it's better to get the backstory of why someone should take it. I agree, and I may do that where others don't. But
you give info from the heart. That's well said. Well said.
That's nice.
Let me do some shout outs here and then we'll call it night. Thank you to Bog Zombie for the two $5 super chats. I appreciate that. And I may have missed this one. Thank you, Piz, and thank you, Eric. I love all the beneficial information you provide and really hope to meet you at a convention in Florida one day.
Yes.
Zombie. So thank you, Bog Zombie. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Dream Emulator, my buddy Matt, for the $1.99 and the $4.99 super chats. Very kind of you. And thank you to Tori for the $10 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Let's see who. Thank you to Brown Space Films for the gifted subs over on Twitch. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jeremy. Very kind of you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Let's see who is still with us on YouTube. We've got Biggie Fitz. Thank you very much for being here, Biggie Fitz. There's Rizami. There's Bog Zombie. Dave. Dead Zone. Let's see who else was with us. Cliff was here. Matt Dream Emulator was here. William Lee, thank you for tuning in. Cotton Eye Joe, thank you for tuning in. Let's see, Horror Collections 13. Horror Collections 13's a bodybuilder too. I've met him. Buff dude. Thank you for being here, sir. There's Turi in the chat. Thank you, sir. But most of all, Eric, thank you for being here and hanging out with us tonight, and of course sharing all your knowledge. It's great, man. We appreciate it. And so what is let's talk about you appeared on the AEW Some podcast with Darcy the Mail Girl recently, and or Diana Prince, Darcy the Mail Girl. If you know Joe Bob at the drive-in, she's Darcy the Mail Girl, Diana Prince. Eric is on episode 147 entitled Garbage Day and AEW All Day. So that's up on wherever you can find their podcast. I'm looking at it right now on Apple Podcasts. So go check that out. And again, if you guys are interested in a can or anything like that, once Eric gets those posted on eBay, I'm sure he'll share that link with me. I'll share it to everybody so you can take care of that good stuff.
Yeah, Darcy called me, said, hey, do you know anything about wrestling? I said, I used to when back in the day. And she said, well, I do wrestling podcasts with my friends, and I've always wanted you on my show, and I'm on a hiatus with Joe Bob. And so do you want to come on my wrestling show? It's just an audio podcast, but that's how that came to be. And so I boned up on the new wrestlers and how they're very athletic. They're very fast. It's a whole new game with these guys. It's all about they're smaller and faster and doing their thing. And clearly they will be crippled as time goes on. But right now they're pile driving each other quite well. So I learned a little bit about her world, and then I went on. So I wasn't a complete loser. So I don't know. I never heard the thing yet. I'll hear it tonight, but hopefully it came out off okay.
Yeah, I sent you the link. I'm going to listen to it later myself. So that's cool. Yeah. You guys go check that out. And last message, Brown Space Films says, Eric, Garbage Day is my favorite day because of you.
Yeah, I know. I do the same thing on Thursdays, like Garbage Day. I have to remind myself I'm who I am. I should probably get someone to do that for me on Thursday. Like, hey, man, I've done enough garbage. So I hear you. Thanks for that. That's very kind. I appreciate the 3 hours and 20 some odd minutes because it flew by.
It did.
For me, it did because I was talking, but it must have been just a complete nightmare for others. So, and you, because you're the host, you're like, and you're so kind to me.
Not at all. Not at all.
But we'll. I think we should have ground rules. 1 hour hops. We'll do 1 hour 3 times a year. I'd rather.
There we go.
I bet.
There we go.
No, you've been most kind. Thank you.
But no, thank you, Eric, and thanks to everybody who tuned in. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again. Happy New Year, of course, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care, and until then, peace.